Good afternoon, Ibu Bapak. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Peace be upon us all. We are very happy to have you all here. I would like to ask first whether all the presenters are already here. Bapak Muhammad Taufan, are you here? Not yet. Okay. Ibu Tri, you are already here. And then Bapak Lono Lastoro will be, the presentation will be done by Fanny Switela. And then we already have Ibu Mutiara Apna Asa. Okay. Ibu Shafira, are you already here? Not yet. So we only have 3 participants. So I would like to ask the committee whether we need to begin on time or do we need to wait for the other presenters?
Thank you, Ibu Christy. We should start on time at 1:30. And so if the participant who's supposed to present is not here yet, we go to the next presenter. And then if they come, then we give them the time.
Okay, thank you, Ibu Ola.
Yes,
so
Bu
we
Christy.
still have 2 minutes. If you would like to have your drink, maybe, or you would like to go to the restroom, because we have limited time for all to collect together here. Silahkan kalau Ibu Bapak ada yang mau dikerjakan dalam waktu 2 menit ini. I think we already have Ibu Shafira Natasha. Okay. Good afternoon, Ibu Shafira. We still have to wait for one other presenter. Okay, Ibu Bapak sekalian, it's already 1:30 sharp. So we are going to start the session. Welcome to all of us. Be very happy that we can collect together this time, even when we just only collect through Zoom. So we are going to have our sessions from now to 2:55. Our theme will be gender, communication, and media. And I would like to introduce myself first. My name is Christy Purwandari. My task is to teach at the Faculty of Psychology, Universitas Indonesia. So I came from UI, Faculty of Psychology, and really happy to accompany you all to discuss today. And I would like to also welcoming all the presenters as well as participants of this session. First, we have Ibu Tri Susantari from Universitas Erlangga. And then we have Ibu Fani Suitela from Universitas Gadjah Mada. And we have Ibu Mutiara Apna Asa from Universitas Andalas. And then we have Ibu Syafira from Andalas as well. Then I think we already have the one that we waited before, Pak Muhammad Taufan Arifudin. Betul ya, Pak?
Iya, benar, Bu.
Oke, Pak Muhammad Taufan Arifudin from Universitas Andalas. So we already have 5 of all the presenters. Before Ibu Bapak presentasi ya, I would like to explain the instruction from the organizers. Each of you will present in maximum 15 minutes, but this 15 minutes will be divided into 2. First, your presentation in about 10 minutes maybe, and then maybe we can have 5 minutes for Q and answer. So we do not wait for you all to present first, and then we have Q and answers, questions and answers, but the question and answer will be conducted right after your presentation. Okay, so I hope it is clear for all of us. And then please, if you did not yet, please send your PPT to organizer through this chat of this Zoom, I think, because it is the organizer who will share screen of your PPT, not you yourself. What I would like to explain also, if we face challenges with the internet, maybe your internet will going down or my internet as well, we will wait for a while, but if it persists, then maybe I will be going to proceed to next presenters. Hopefully you don't mind. For example, if the first presenter faced troubles, then I will wait for 1 minute, maybe 2 minutes, and then we go to a second presenter if you are not yet ready. But then hopefully we still have time for the first presenter to come back and just share his or her presentation. And also I just would like to remind you, don't forget to open and complete the link for participation at the end of the session, because it is required for you to do so you can get your certificate as presenters. Okay, I hope it is clear. So we already explained your all of you. So I would like to invite Bapak Muhammad Taufan Arifudin, the first presenter, to present your research or your paper titled "Why Media, Women and Children Cry in Palestine and Israel." Please, Bapak, silahkan.
Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. First of all, can you hear me? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. I am really honored to be presenter, to be here in this international conference on gender discourse. So today I would like to make a very briefly presentation so we can share. I would like to collect some response for you about my let's say my preliminary research. So my research title is "Why Media, Women and Children Cry in Palestine." So
Sorry, the PPT is not this PPT, but "Why Media, Women and Children Cry in Palestine and Israel."
That's right. It is not my PPT. Actually, I did send a couple of days ago. Okay. So, but if you cannot show my presentation, it's okay, no problem. So I just briefly to touch my research, so I can.
No, sorry. Can we wait for a while, because
okay.
Maybe the participants will be much clearer if we have PPT.
Okay.
Oke, moga-moga bisa ya, panitia. Bolehkah PPT-nya? Why Media, Women and Children Cry in Palestine and Israel. Adakah? Oke. Thank you. Silakan, Pak.
Okay. My research title is "Why Media, Women and Children Cry in Palestine." So what is the background of this research? Actually, I already addressed this issue since I was undergraduate school. So I go to street to, let's say, fight for Palestine and understand what's happening in Palestine. And until today, I'm still questioning what happened, what is happening truly in Palestine. And then what can we do to improve the situation? So I like to challenge a dominant issue and then the very poor and limited issue in understanding Palestine. It seems like Palestine is like fundamentalism and conservative issue. Indeed, I like to say that this is really interesting to address what is truly happening in media. When Professor Babette in the morning told us very greatly, speaking in her speech, she said that if you could address the relationship or maybe the causality, the causal mechanism between the climate change and gender injustice, inequality in today's world, let's say we are trying to move the gender issue into more sophisticated issue. Why we cannot address the issue of the gender injustice in Palestine by addressing how the settler colonialism today in Palestine could challenge, let's say jeopardize and enhance the negative impact of let's say could influence the gender equality or the gender or the woman marginalization in Palestine. So this is my really let's say my background is I like to question what's truly happened in Palestine and why women in Palestine be marginalized, but no one could understand, no one could address it more fairly, more better, or more sophisticated discourse or analysis. So my methodology is I like to use case study. Case study is something like, I case study for me, social science methodology, it's really related to ethnography, case study, and let's say comparative study. So I use case study because I have very limitation, but I need to understand what is the contemporary issue in Palestine today. So, but case study could, this is the case study research methodology could give the researcher, let's say, strategy in understanding the context, since the researcher could, let's say, have, since researchers have goals or to understand the contemporary issue. So my goal is I like to understand what is truly happening in today's Palestine, and then I like to see why there is like gender invisibility in today situation, that no one could relate between the settler colonialisms by Israel that lead to the marginalization of Palestinian women today. So this is my methodology is like case study. Okay, and then how could I find this how could I improve my research methodology? By using case study, I use strategy to utilize post-Zionism's perspective and critical discourse analysis. So I mix this not only methodology but also the analysis, the analysis tools. Post-Zionism is something like very critical historical perspective in understanding Palestine and Israel relationship, since the last 19th century and the beginning of 19th century, 20th century until right now. And then critical discourse analysis is like tools for me to utilize like media to understand the situation. So post-Zionism I utilize to understand the background, what's truly happening, since for long durée, let's say long time observation. Even so, I just use literature review, and then I use literature. No, I utilize critical discourse analysis by Norman Fairclough to understand the latest situation, what we call the Israeli-Palestinian conflict in May 2021, or it is popular the May crisis. So everybody know, I think, because this conflict, this crisis happened in Ramadan. Okay, in Ramadan. So I like to understand the situation of May crisis, and then mix with post-Zionism perspective, which is really popular in Western and Europe country, but it is not really popular in Indonesia. So maybe this also could challenge the dominant discourse of Palestine in Indonesia, that really dominated by, let's say, conservative, or not only conservative, let's say the dominant discourse of Islamic group of Indonesia, let's say PKS, or let's say kami, let's say HMI, let's say, yeah. So we need to improve how to understand the situation. Yeah. So the previous studies are still lack of understanding the situation by mixing post-Zionism perspective that is popularized by, let's say, Ilan Pape and Shlomo Sen. Of course, both.
Excuse me, Pak Taufan.
Yeah.
If you would like to change your slide, please tell us so. Is it
okay? No
still the
problem.
slide?
Okay, maybe for the moderator, please just move slowly my slide, because I have 11 slide. So I just need to touch the very important one. So just
okay, Pak Taufan, I would like to also remind you of the time, because we still need question and answer. So I think your time left will be around 3 minutes, 4 minutes. So can you go?
Okay. Well, let's come to the finding. Okay, let's come to finding and discussion. So my finding is, please the slide. Could you change the slide into the finding? This method already I like to utilize case study, which is okay. So actually, what I like to say that the political background of Israel and Palestine conflict, that the occupation of Palestine is a matter of the Zionist campaign supported by the West and the discursive practice of Orientalism and Zionism. Let's say Ilan Pape and Shlomo Sen, of course, utilize Edward Westside understanding to improve their thinking about post-Zionism. Post-Zionism, it seems like the Zionist movement occupied Palestine since the early 20th century until right now, under let's say revisionist Zionisms. So they occupied Palestine under of course the British support, which initiated the Balfour Declaration. It is noted that Palestine should be reconstituted as the national home for the Jewish. So my main point is, today what the situation is, there is like new colonialism. It is called settler colonialism. So let's claim that today there is like a new colonialism. And the third one, that today's hegemony representation and interpretation of the West and their expert dominate our social and media and intellectual culture. So could you move to another slides? Okay. Another slide. Okay. Actually, I provide some media reports. Let's say from from mainstream media, from like BBC, Al Jazeera, and then from alternative media like Jacobins and let's say documentary movie to touch the situation that prove that today's Palestine women, they are under marginalization. They are really suffer because they were killed when the conflict increased, and then they lost their home and they lost their children. I think, and then there is, okay, could you, the last one, the last one of could you change, please, run the slide slowly, softly, okay, no problem, because, okay, so I try to touch some, yeah, like this if you see the slide, okay, this like narrative, this like great narrative, what's happening in my crisis, that there is like Israeli force, force Palestinian women, they occupied their house, they they remove their host because Israelian want to replace them, and then conflict increase into the Mosque Al-Aqsa, and then Israel did like airstrike, and then that kill women and children, and then that lead to, you know, like political movement by Palestinian people inside Israel and then outside around the globe. In Israel, you can see the last picture, the social movement to free Palestine in Paris, in Australia, in London. So I think they really right now consider today is colonialism. So and then it is really related to very complicated issue about post-sionism's analysis that what today happens, that there is a limitation of media right now. There is limitation of in religious interpretation. There is limitation of political context because the powerful Zionist revisionisms control Palestine in Palestine, control internal elite of Israel right now, and then they communicated with American superpower. They had like since like you know, Jews lobbies, you know, that could.
Pak Taufan, I am
okay.
very sorry. I guess
Okay.
your time is already.
Okay, my conclusion is what I like to say that today there is a settled colonialism, and then this settled colonialism increase the marginalization of Palestinian women. They suffer from death, and they lost their home, their children, and then there is limitation of religious interpretation, the politics, the media, international communities. So what should we do right now? Of course, we should to you know to move to move you know to against this limitation. Okay, maybe that's all my
Thank
my
you
first
so
my
much.
presentation. Maybe okay. I will okay. I'm happy to hear your response because this is like first draft, so I can revise
Yeah,
my paper.
Sorry,
Thank you.
Pak. I think
Okay, thank you.
it's off already the time.
Okay,
So please, thank you so much, Pak Taufan.
Okay. Thank you very
for
much.
your presentation. I would like to invite maybe one or two questions. Maybe please have your question brief because of the time limitation. If you have any questions, the participants of this session, please. No questions. Can we, the share screen, can we make it off? So we can, okay, thank you so much. Ibu Bapak sekalian, ada pertanyaankah? Pak Taufan, are you there?
Okay, I am here. Okay, I'm looking forward to your response because I need to revise my paper.
Are there any questions, Ibu Bapak? Because if not, maybe before we go to other presenter, I just would like to ask to Bapak Taufan, in your title, you put there case study conflict of May 2021.
Yeah,
so,
that's right.
Is there any specific case happening, Pak? I mean, can you explain just in brief what is it more specific about this case of May? Because actually we know, right, that Palestine and Israel, they are so long having their conflicts. Please, thank you, Pak.
Okay, thank you very much, Madam Moderator. So what I like to say, actually, I already shown you the some of photograph that I collected from different media about this situation. The situation, you know, originated from let me read from according to Sehade, the May crisis in 2021 related to the Sejarah incidents in which the Jewish settlement organization Lahab Somron, it's called Lahab Somron, expel or remove 4 houses occupied by Palestinian Arab settlers since 1957. So this is the problem. So there's like apartheid regime or racism in this situation. So it trigger not only political activism inside Israel and in Palestine, but also around the world, around the globe. In Paris, in Palestine, it's called pre-Palestine. This is really sad story in today's human civilization.
Okay, thank you, Pak. Yeah. Thank you so much for the presentation. Maybe we can give our tepuk tangan ya, Ibu Bapak sekalian. Makasih Pak Taufan. I think we need to proceed to the second presenter. Maybe if we still have time, we can go back to all. Ibu Tri Susantari from Universitas Erlangga, who will be talking about tabligh as a form of Aisyah Women for Information Sharing. I just would like to remind you that you as presenter can find your time left because it's already there. The organizer put it there. You still have 15 minutes, you still have 13 minutes, but please remind yourself that it is include question and answers. Okay, please Ibu Tri Susantari, your time is yours, and please the organizer to have the PPT.
Thank you, Prof. Christy. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
My article title, Tabligh as Information Sharing Method During Pandemic in Bojonegoro Regency. COVID-19 has weakened the economic sector, limited educational activities, and lack of health infrastructure. During the pandemic, women lack of literacy and new knowledge. Increasing number of unemployed people and layoffs. Aisyah is a women's organization that encourages the empowerment and independence of Indonesian women during this pandemic is carrying out its public function to all Indonesian women in general and all Aisyah cadres. My research questions: 1. What is the description about condition of the Aisyah public program and activities in Bojonegoro Regency during the current pandemic? And 2. What is the model of public activities carried out by Aisyah in Bojonegoro Regency?
Ibu, please tell if you would like to PPT to be changed. Okay, so the organizer will understand. Masih ini atau PPT-nya pindah, please?
Ya, PPT dipindah, silakan. Ya, mengikuti apa yang saya sampaikan. My research question 3, maybe next. Okay, yes. And how was the impact of the people of on the people of Bojonegoro Regency after the public activity carried out by Aisyah Bojonegoro Regency during the pandemic was carried out? Eric Fromm's concept in public Aisyah. Next. According to Fromm, the meaning of education is humanize humans, which is then known as the humanistic school. Sukanto. This humanistic approach is related to humanistic psychology in education, which emphasizes the affective, cognitive, and psychomotor aspect. In this learning process, students must feel recognized, accepted, and humanized. Education, which is in the ICGCS organization, is called public beacon, and I'm at the benefit of humanizing humans. In the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic, the public activity carried out by ICGCS to have a role in the community was to form a COVID-19 task force that involved women in carrying out their activities. Next. Methodology, the approach used is qualitative descriptive. The subjects who will be studied as informants in this study include regional leaders and branch managers of Asia in Bojonegoro Regency with high numbers of cases of COVID-19 from several areas recommended by the regional leader of Asia, it's Java. The data collection techniques used in this study are in-depth interview. The data analysis used in this research is a data analysis that is realized the form of report and descriptive descriptions. Result in discussion. Next. The model of public information sharing activities conducted by Asia in Bojonegoro Regency during the COVID-19 pandemic recognize. Oh, no. Oh, sorry. Yes. One, the form of public carried out by Asia is virtual or online through the Zoom and WhatsApp applications. In the time of the implementation of the Asia recitation during the pandemic is carried out 2 times a month. And the movement that Asia often does during the pandemic is the social ta'awun movement or gerakan ta'awun sosial. And next. Model. The model of public information sharing activities conducted by Asia in Bojonegoro Regency during the COVID-19 pandemic. Recognize. 1. The leader of the Asia cadre always takes the initiative to find recitation links for all congregations, and 2. Accept it. The response of the recitation participants, the recitation during the pandemic had quite high enthusiasm. And 3. Humanize. The leadership also provides information technology training to senior cadres to create online recitation conveniently. Next. The impact on the Bojonegoro Regency society after the public or information sharing activity conducted by Asia during the COVID-19 pandemic. Difficulties is using technology such as a signal, cannot use Zoom, and so on. The positive impact is being able to follow the recitation easily without spending accommodation course and being able to listen to the recitation anywhere. Next. Conclusion. During pandemic, the struggle of the Asia women against COVID-19 can be described through public activities which are still being carried out actively through online recitation and social ta'awun movement or gerakan ta'awun sosial. Next. Yes. People who attend the online recitation feel belonging, recognized, and humanized by seeing the effort made by Asia, who has a high sense of concern to fight against COVID-19 by protecting their fellow cadres with a sense of responsibility, love, solidarity, and brotherhood. The obstacle that occurred the community after the public activity carried out by Asia during the pandemic was that many Bojonegoro Regency people could not join because of difficulties in using technology. But the good thing is that people can easily take part in the recitation without spending accommodation costs and can listen to the recitation wherever there. Maybe this is my presentation. Thank you very much. Thank you, Prof.
so
Christy.
much, Ibu Tri. You really present in 10 minutes.
Yes.
Please, maybe our participants would like to have one or two questions to Ibu Tri. Okay, there is one question, Ibu Tri. Through the conclusion, I can see that your article focuses just on the trouble of technology. Is there any other result? For example, how the response of other people who can join the program? Ibu Tri bisa lihat di chat.
Yeah.
Please, if you can answer this question.
Yes, maybe mungkin saya bisa menjelaskan dengan bahasa Indonesia, Prof. Christy.
Silakan. Mungkin singkat ya, Bu?
Ya, baik.
Silakan.
Sebenarnya kajian saya tidak hanya melihat tentang permasalahan teknologi ya, tapi lebih kepada mungkin kalau dibaca dari full papernya, kalau dari presentasi sih sebenarnya karena hanya 10 menit sehingga saya tidak bisa menjelaskan secara mendalam karena penjelasannya memang pada saat pandemi ini kita tahu bahwa persoalan social distancing dan seterusnya, adanya pembatasan PPKM yang terus-menerus, kemudian adanya ditutupnya kegiatan-kegiatan secara bersama sehingga kedekatan, kemudian kebersamaan, kemudian hal-hal yang seringkali pertemuan dilakukan secara bersama-sama, bertemu secara tatap muka, sehingga ini tidak bisa dilakukan. Dan ini menimbulkan banyak hal yang terkait dengan persoalan-persoalan yang ada kaitannya dengan perasaan yang tidak terabaikan, tidak ada tidak ada pertemuan, tidak ada kedekatan lagi, sehingga ini mengakibatkan bahwa semakin adanya orang merasa bahwa tidak adanya terabaikannya orang-orang dalam hal ini, tidak ada kebersamaan kembali. Hal inilah yang menjadi concern saya di dalam kajian ini, bahwa Aisyah ini melakukan hal yang sangat sangat bertanggung jawab terhadap persoalan ini, sehingga mereka melakukan kegiatan yang tablik yang awalnya dilakukan secara offline, itu akhirnya mereka mengusahakan dengan melakukan melalui online, melalui WhatsApp. Tetapi tidak hanya kegiatan itu saja dilakukan, tetapi juga secara mereka kebutuhan-kebutuhan ketika persoalan-persoalan pandemik ini terjadi, itu juga mereka berikan gitu. Jadi ketika orang kekurangan dalam kebutuhan sehari-hari, mereka juga memberikan bantuan. Mungkin itu ya, Prof. Kristi.
I think it's already
Yes.
clear. So you are talking about that the people feel that the closeness is not there anymore,
Yes.
the togetherness, and maybe
Yeah.
it is more difficult to outreach those who
Yeah.
really in need. Gitu ya, Bu Tri, ya?
Iya, jadi
baik.
Jadi tablet itu, teknologi itu hanya merupakan alat saja.
Baik,
Jadi,
baik.
yang saya teliti itu lebih dari itu, gitu, yang
Baik,
ditunjukkan
Ibu,
oleh.
terima kasih. Mohon maaf waktunya sudah habis, Ibu. I just would like to what is that? To suggest you with this question. I think you can maybe revise or make it more complete in your paper. Just if you would like to send it to journals, maybe. Okay, thank you very much, Ibu Tri. We can have tepuk tangan buat Ibu Tri.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much. And then we would like to go to the third presenter, who is Ibu Fani Switela from Universitas Gadjah Mada, who would like to tell us about when the girls getting into hip-hop music, Indonesian youth and hip-hop music consumption in the internet age. Oke, silahkan Ibu Fani. Nanti Ibu Fani, tolong kalau slide-nya harus ganti, dikasih tahu ya. Panitia supaya ngerti. Oke, please.
Yeah. Thank you, Professor, and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to present my research. I think Professor already mentioned my title, so I proceed to the introduction. Please, introductions. Next slide. Okay, as we know that internet has been established in Indonesia since 1990. And hip-hop music is one of American popular musical scapes, has million fans around the world, including in Indonesia. And the inception of internet in Indonesia has been brought many changes in the scene of hip-hop music, in particular its relationship to the fandom. So hip-hop scene is rated as one of very commercial genres, as well as the super hot genre on internet with million young fans. Basis in Indonesia right now. So my research explored Indonesian young girls' conception of musical taste related to the context of musical consumption in the internet age, in particular how they use the internet in which they interact with in order to access and listen to hip-hop music, and how they construct their own narrative as well. And further, my research explored the role of the internet in mediating the relationship between them and hip-hop music nowadays, how the internet received the musical taste of Indonesian young girls, in particular their understanding of hip-hop genre, how this triangular relationship between youth, music, and internet represents a continuing desire to engage with one another. So this is virtual ethnographic approach I use a virtual ethnographic approach by focusing on daily activities of Indonesian girls from different provinces who have been engaging and consuming hip-hop music from the internet. Next slide to result, please. Okay, based on my research, so I found there's a lot of things. So the first one that I formulate, the first one is about how we should rethinking Indonesian youth musical consumption mode in the internet age. That the advent of both the internet and the mobile phone device, which expanded exponentially, has some important rules in youth culture. As the mobile phone device becomes completely upgraded to become the smartphone and integrate with the internet, it controls most of the musical environment and also soundscape of young people. It becomes a way in which they can define boundaries between their public and private life, as well as parental influence and personal exploration. Next slide, please. So Indonesian youth today and at the time in the past have much in common. However, what makes they differ is that the internet and the smartphone or other newer digital technologies command a higher level of social interaction. So the circumstance, of course, produce such new mode of online consuming circuit in which artists and fans are struggling together to influence one and another. Next slide, please. Ladies and gentlemen, if we're speaking of musical consumption, then the advent of internet has brought some changing within fans' consumption mode, in particular fans of hip-hop music. So in the internet age, fans of hip-hop music are not just belonging to certain gender, mostly masculine, but now feminine also as fans. So since internet and musical apps are open and easy to be accessed, then everyone has potential to become a fan, such occur to subject of this research. Next slide, please. So many of subject of this research are known nothing of the music during the pre-internet age. Mostly subjects have been getting access to and being listening to hip-hop music actively through the smartphone that they have. They claim that it is easy to listen and to organize songs and artists that they like throughout it, and they can do it wherever and whenever they have time. Next slide, please. Ladies and gentlemen, further, my subject also feel being more intimate and having privacy while they listen to it directly from the device that they have. In the recent context, the sight of an Indonesian girl wears the earphone or the headphone is no longer a symbol of desired social isolation. For girls, this practice is often seen as the way to invite conversation, to share musical taste, or to engage in general social interaction. A girl has the control over the music that she listens to, including whether she wants to share it or not. Next slide, please. So then, through perpetual contacts with the smartphone, the future of her listening practice of the music on the internet is increasingly focused on the concept of the social, in which music occupying an interesting space in this development. Moreover, by having access to the immense quantity of online music, Indonesian girls are able to promote change in how music is classified. Next slide, please. So, ladies and gentlemen, instead of becoming bounded by genre, it replaced by the new system named folksonomy. Is a system of classifying and organizing online content into different categories. So this system is able to redefine the rigidly musical taste definition determined by genre distinction. It is favoring a culture of eclecticism. Next slide, please. The next is about how Indonesian musical taste as repertoire of preference. So my conclusion is based on Nowak, in which he refers musical taste into three components, namely music preference, musical meanings, and listening practice. this. So in this section, I elaborate the trilogy of musical taste through Indonesian girl experiences of consuming music. In terms of repertoire prevalence, I observe a shift occur among Indonesian youth in defining their musical taste, in which the definition shift from the stratification based on social classes to the stratification based on personal interest. Next slide, please. So there are some differences of musical taste mentioned by young girls in which can be clustered to become the exclusive contemporary popular eclecticism of young generation that is opposed to the classic popular eclecticism of old generation, a disappearance of dominant social meaning of music, which happened in younger generation opposed to dominant culture. So it seems that the presence of internet opened up to tolerance, in particular within musical taste among Indonesian youth. However, tolerance is not synonymous with adoring everything. In fact, ignoring, blocking away, or avoiding disliked music can fall within the idea of values of tolerance that Indonesian youth generally develop toward music and other Indonesian youth repertoires of preference, rather than adopting the logic of musical distinction. Next slide, please. So the presence of internet gives a wide idea of what to listen to. It just opens up everything, because there used to be only certain genre of music that people, in particular Indonesian youth, used to like, but now there are a lot of different genre. In a broader sense, Indonesian youth narrative explain the elements of continuity and disruption that define their musical taste. In this case, I argue that the evolution of Indonesian youth of repertoire of music preference in modern societies is extensive. However, it is important to enrich the definition of music taste, go beyond than conventional understanding in which understood as the list of liked music of Indonesian youth. Next slide, please. So, ladies and gentlemen, okay, this is my conclusion. So, Indonesian youth representing by the girls are able to redefine their musical taste, not merely following conventional definition of genre. They are influenced more or less by technological they use. Further, as the technology, the internet has important role to blur the hierarchy of musical taste, including the choice of intra-genre in hip-hop music. It gives opportunity and space for the girl to the exploration more on multiple songs of hip-hop, to engage deeply with artists and songs that they like, and also to expand their knowledge related to hip-hop. Their profound engagement with technologies and internet contribute within reshaping their taste on music, especially how they conceive and perceive hip-hop music, in which has been undergoing stereotyping in dominant culture for decades. The new engagement of the girl is able to break down some social taboos and helping them to reformatting their identity as young people in the midst of technological changing rapidly. Next conclusion, please. So this research also indicates how the girls negotiate the triangular relationship between them, the internet, and the music. In fact, they identify it in two ways. On one hand, they define genres and musical tastes through a bottom-up strategy using descriptive instead of commercially imposed genres. On another hand, they do online music tagging known as taxonomy. So the internet has important role for them to listen and to organize their lovable online music. In fact, this practice is altering the way in which they define their musical taste to become more and more eclectic, rather than just bounded by conventional definition of taste and genre. Next slide, please. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ibu Fani. Are there any questions? Ibu Bapak semuanya, we still have maybe 3 minutes or 4 minutes.
May I, Mrs.
Please, silahkan Ibu.
My name is Mulyanti Sas. Before I'm sorry, maybe I'm late to hear your presentation. I don't know about the methodology. Could you please explain that the methodology that you use from this article?
Okay.
Thank you.
Ibu Mulyanti. The methodology, please, Mbak Fani.
Okay. I use my methodology. So I use the virtual ethnographic approach as my main approach. So it is based on a SAUCO approach, in which I link the daily practice consuming the music to the internet. So I do what a virtual ethnographic by doing searching on internet and focusing on hip hop music and also how they consume it. And then I did sort of interview also. So I use two main approach actually, virtual ethnographic approach as the main approach, and also the new ethnographic approach in order to find my subject in the daily activities in which they consume the music, because I can monitor or observe them when they consume the music if I use just virtual ethnographic approach. So I use another approach named new ethnographic approach in order to do, for example, in-depth interview. That's all, I think.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mbak Fani. I guess we don't have more time to proceed. Okay, thank you very much. Virtual ethnography, ya, sesuatu yang baru dan saya rasa sekarang makin banyak digunakan. Thank you so much, Mbak Fani, and other presenters before. We would like to proceed to the fourth presenter, Ibu Mutiara Apna Asa from Universitas Andalas, who would like to share with us her article, Being a Man, Representation of Liberating Masculinity in Animation Film. Okay, animation film. It's interesting also. Silahkan, Ibu Mutiara.
Thank you for the time, madam.
The PPT, you already sent the PPT?
Yes, I already sent it to the committee.
Okay, we just wait for a while. Nanti tolong dilihat ya, ada waktunya tuh di layarnya tuh masih berapa menit, dan nanti Mbak Mutiara tolong kasih tahu, please change the PPT or gimana supaya lebih ngerti. Okay, please.
Okay, Miss. Okay, thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Mutiara Penasa, and I'm the student of Andalas University. On behalf of the research team with Mrs. Vitania Yulia and Mrs. Sanyati, I'd like to present our research topic of gender communication and media, especially in film. So our research is entitled Being a Man, Representation of Liberating Masculinity in Animation Film, Pendage Critical Discourse, Analysis of How to Train Your Dragon. Next slide, please. So this is the abstract of our research, that this research is aimed to conduct a critical study on depiction of the concept of liberating masculinity shown in How to Train Your Dragon film using the critical discourse analysis by Pendage. Next slide, please. So next slide, please, sir. Okay. For the introduction of this research, we know that television and film have become one of the potential sources of displaying information on gender of children. And in this last research is children, especially those who have entered the school age, spending more than 7 hours a day using this media. It has a significant influence on the reception of information and the formation of their roles and understanding of gender. And we can see that the several appearances of male characters in animated children's films are enough to show how the film currently haven't optimally eliminated gender stereotypes and the concept of toxic masculinity. And we can see that the confined masculinity of the toxic
masculinity that in the film focus more on the physical strength, financial success, and the social status of men rather than the internal problems like involving emotion and souls. So this ideal male role actually make it difficult for men to integrate the basic aspect of their own humanity. So this also has serious physical impact causes depression, suicidal, and violence. So we need an alternative in conveying the concept of masculinity. And in their books of Reinfighting Masculinity, Adam and Fahim tell about the liberating masculinity as the one of the alternative. So this concept is contrast to confined masculinity that is more fluid and freer to change. Next slide, please. And so it's a significant thing to build a healthy or liberating masculinity that represented in a film. So we as researchers choose the How to Train Your Dragon film that has been released on the 2010. So this film is set in the life of a very conservative Viking tribe on the island of Berg that recounting the life of Hiccup as the main character who adventures with his dragon Toothless. So building the liberating masculinity, it involves the 5 basic elements they call the 5 C's that formulated by Adam and Fahim. So the 2 of them that we choose to focus is compassion and connection. This compassion is about man's ability to open their heart and their emotion. So this shows the importance for men to believe that affection is a core part of masculinity. And the connection refers to strong and meaningful relationship that means the building stronger bond between the man, the other people, and the nature is really important to spread the kindness to human and the environment. This involves the fact that everyone is great to connect with one each other. And the next slide, please. So in this research, we use the qualitative research method with the type we using the Fandich model of critical discourse analysis with the critical paradigm and hegemonic masculinity theory that found by Connell. So in this research, we want to make an interpretation that capture the deepest meaning. So it's more critical, in-depth, and complex. And this research, we use the 3 dimensions of the Fandich critical discourse analysis is based on the dimension of text, social cognition, and social context. The next slide, please. So the data collecting methods that we use, there are 2 methods. Is a literature study for the reading materials that relevant to the issue, and the common document study like the script, dialogue, graphic, and contained in the How to Train Your Dragon film. Next slide, please. So the result of this research is from the dimension of the text, there are macro and superstructure and macrostructure of the text that emphasize the certain meaning as a discourse. So in this film, we see that the main theme based on the social reality of the patriarchal that internalized through the conservative and hyper-masculine culture of the Vikings. It shows the struggle of Hiccup in dealing with the society to build a new world in peace with the concept of liberating masculinity. And from the social cognition, we can see that the aspect studies are related to the cognitive involvement of individuals who are directly involved in the text production of process, like the Dan W. and Chris Sanders as the writers and the directors of this film. They want to focus on the journey of Hiccup, his father, and the dragons who push obstacle into a harmonious relationship between them. And this is internalized in Viking culture that maybe feel like fantasy things, but it may hold great value for today's modern world, especially for the children. And for the dimension of social context, we can see the building and development of this within society. And we see the struggle of subordinate group as a victims of hegemonic masculinity. In this film is really clearly shows that the social status, physical, and financial strength have a big influence on the position of a gender identity that's considered ideal. Next, please. So the hiccup struggle to break the boundaries of toxic masculinity is really shown in this film. His inability to do heavy and challenging things, and his physical condition, it makes him considered as a useless boy, a subordinate figure, and troublemaker. And the ideology and the culture that the Viking society has is also very hypermasculine and contrast with the Hiccup existence as the main character. So this is really a struggle that Hiccups has in that environment. Next slide, please. And this film is we can see the liberating masculinity concept that conveyed in compassion and connection. The compassion things is Hiccup tried to show his empathy and understand to understand the dragon and building confidence in himself. Hiccup is portrayed a caring, compassionate, and creative person. And the depiction of Hiccup's character as a physically disabled person is also shift the stereotype masculinity inherent in disabled men. As we can see that Hiccup and Toothless, his dragon, is both of them break down the masculinity dilemma of person with disabilities in their inability to use the attribute such a physical strength and social status that give rise to a feeling of being barred from masculinity ideals. Next slide, please. And the connection, we can see that Hiccup managed to bring the fresh view to the Vikings. He can connect the dragons and his Berk people to make peace with themselves, and the dragons were actually harmless. He finally know that the dragon is actually not harm from them, and he always puts a sense of empathy and cooperation in the face of war with his enemies, and he's the deposit of supernatural strength to change the Viking society. Thinking about the dragons build a harmony between the dragons and the people. Next slide, please. So the conclusion is the gender inequality can occur to men who are considered as a subordinate, like Hiccup. And the struggle in fighting hegemony masculinity is very difficult to succeed if there are still obstacles born from the fellow men that perpetuate the existence of the stereotype and toxic masculinity in society. So in this case, this film is simply depicts a liberating portrait of masculinity, which is internalized through the Hiccup and Toothless character, who are full of compassion, inclusive connection. The characters are the perfect antithesis to be a hero and a role model for boys in the society. Next slide, please. So this is the reference that we use in this research. Next slide, please. Okay, this is the end of my presentation.
Thank you so much.
For the interest. Thank you, Madam.
Thank you, Mutiara. Maybe we can have one question or two questions in brief, please. Nggak ada. Are there any questions? I think it is interesting as well, the topic. Okay, Mbak Mulyanti, silakan.
Can I ask something?
Okay.
I have a question, Prof. One question,
sorry,
please.
Fanny. Okay, Fanny, please.
Yeah.
Short, Fanny, in brief, please.
Yes, of course. Yeah. So I just wonder about your opinion. So in case of your research, you found out that Hiccup represent the dominant culture or the hegemonic one, or they do something really like transgress from the dominant culture through the movie, because it is not the Indonesian movie, right? So they have different ideology. So do you think they still like play in the same frame with what Indonesians have done in many movies, or they do something really different in order to read the Van Dyke conception of CDA? What do you think about that? Thank you.
Silakan, Mutiara.
Thank you for the question, Ms. Fanny. In this movie, Hiccup is portrayed as a really contrast man than the entire society and in this back island. So the background of this film is also really conservative. That we know that the Viking society is really masculine. They have the big muscular and they have a goals for killing all the dragons. And this Hiccup is really portrayed the opposite of he really portrayed the subordinate people on his society. So in this film, I can say that this film is really bring it to a good point that we can see that Hiccup is being bullied by the society, but he can move on and portray that he can be the representation of the ideal masculinity that we have to convey to the other children in Indonesia, of course.
Okay, thank you so much. I think we already past the time. Sorry, this is very limited. Please give applause to Mutiara. Thank you so much, Mutiara, and all other presenters. We would like to move to the last presenter, not the least, the last presenter, Ibu Shafira Natasha, who would like to present her article blaming the victim reporting on female murder victims on online news portals. Please, Shafira.
Okay, thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We would like to say thank you for present to our presentation. It's great to see you all. And okay, let me introduce myself and my partner. I'm Shafira Natasha. Next to me is Mrs. Vitania Yulia and Mr. Rinaldi. We are from Andalas University, Padang, West Sumatra, Indonesia. And first, I will explain to you about the victim blaming reports of female murder victims on online media. Next slide, please. Okay. Women are vulnerable to violence and often face serious problems until they are killed. According to a report by Komisi Nasional Anti Kekerasan Terhadap Perempuan Indonesia, cases of murder against women are increasing every year. In addition, most of these murder cases are also accompanied by acts of sadism, such as rape, mutilation, and things that damage organs to diminish the honor and dignity of women. Not infrequently, these cases are published in the news, which is considered to have saved the position of the perpetrator by using various factors are supporting reason for blaming the victim. When it comes to women as victim of murder, there are many media that will the meaning of women by placing them in a disadvantaged position, especially for online media. And in just one murder case, there is more than one news upload by an online news portal. For the media, the title aims to pursue clickbait. Clickbait for the media is also intended to adapt in the midst of the alleged information needs of the vast number of internet users. As we know, the number of internet users today is unmitigated. Meanwhile, online news portals are competing to provide complete information and attract a lot of attention from internet users, such as Data.com. Data.com is an online news portal in Indonesia, which ranked third as the most visited news site according to SimilarWeb.com. This is the reason why this research focused on Data.com. And then this is why Data.com has become a popular online news portal in Indonesia. because it has many news readers from various circles. So talking about news readers, if it is associated with news stories that contain blaming the victim against women victims, it may be able to form readers view only from the title or a few paragraphs of the news. Now, people are vulnerable to headline syndrome. Next slide, please. Okay, in the study, researchers will find out how the strategy of blaming the victim against women who are murder victims in criminal news and the structure of truth that arrange in the meaning of blaming the victim in the case of murder of women. Next slide, please. The method the researchers uses descriptive qualitative method. Qualitative methods are methods which research are not obtained through statistical or quantitative method, but rather emphasizes the quality of social phenomena. The analytical method in question is framing analysis. The framing analysis used is the Gamson and Modigliani model. Through framing analysis techniques, researchers will collect news on women murder cases in the July until November 2020 edition of Detik.com. Because this period was chosen because it was reported from Liputan6.com that the Indonesian National Police record an increase in crime rate since the beginning of July 2020. Next slide, please. Okay, this is a Gamson and Modigliani model framing device. There are two parts which are framing device and reasoning device. Metaphor, catchphrases, exemplar, depiction, visual image, roots, appeal to principle, and consequences. Next slide, please. This is object of research. There are 9 news that researchers analyze. Next slide, please. After researchers conduct an analysis of the 9 news, researchers found strategies that were published in the news related to murder of women. First, stigma of women. In the news that researchers analyzed, some sentences are more focused on female victims. The news clearly built meaning about women in accordance with the growing stigma in society. The stigma in content in all the news analyzed, women are depicted as weak, incompetent, and deserve to pay cheaply, so that women are unable to fight or match the power of men. Second, opinion of the authorized party. Another fact that the researchers found in the analysis of the news was that all the news contain information from the police. As it is understood that the police are the party who has the authority in the murder case. Their statement and opinion tend to be trusted by the public, so that no matter that what the police say, many people will not dispute it. Moreover, the police who provide information in the news were all male police officers. At least there is a set of a personal assumption as men that save the position of the perpetrator, who incidentally are also men. Third, confession from the perpetrators. After analyzing the news, researchers found that there was information from the perpetrator of the female murder. And this confession further put the position of the female victim into a corner. This position is clearly seen from the title and content of the news, which repeatedly makes news with the concept of the perpetrator killing because hearted. The perpetrator seems to be looking for the reason to justify that why he did was treated by the woman herself. The action taken by the perpetrator seemed to be only as a counter-reaction, and the end the perpetrators are seen real victims. However, of the 9 news stories that the researchers analyzed, there were only 2 that include information from the perpetrators. For opinion of others, the news that researchers analyzed found that there was only 1 news that include information for eyewitnesses. In fact, there's no information from victims' families of relatives. It can be seen that data.com news is not balanced because if it is examined if only from the side of the police, the perpetrator of a death by a witness, there is a be inequality. Next slide, please. The meaning of news of the murder of woman. If you look at the data.com news title, most of the carry the concept of cause and effect. Then at the end, the news, the sentence is often embedded that perpetrator killed the victim by hilaf. This statement seems to be a defense to perpetrators by admitting his guilt. The word hilaf also refers to intention of an unintentional or unconscionable mistake. So from this statement, the perpetrator claims that his act of killing the victim is an unconscionable counterattack. In fact, in a murder case, the important object the investigates the perpetrator. Finally, a misunderstanding is from in understanding the existence of victim and the perpetrator in a crime event. Next slide, please. Okay, the researchers put in the following table. There are several news the analysis result. Okay, that all of me. Thank you for your attention.
Okay, are you okay? Thank you so much. So we have maybe 1 or 2 questions following the presentation of Shafira, please. If you have any questions. Silahkan, saya rasa topiknya penting juga ini. Tidak ada pertanyaan? No question. So, Shafira, I just would like to ask you, you blaming the victim reporting on female murder. I think this is quite important issue because this also a factor that that really influence women for victim of violence, for example, they prefer not to report their case, for example. Yeah, I just would like to ask about the analysis. You told us about the stigma, etc. So what is that? I mean, in my opinion, it is really all the stigma, all of them seems to relate to how the community or the society view women's sexuality. Do you agree with that, or what is your opinion?
Saya izin menjawab dengan bahasa Indonesia, Ibu.
Oke, silakan.
Menurut saya stigma perempuan ini sangat berpengaruh terhadap lingkungan, termasuk dalam berita-berita, terlebih dalam media, khususnya berita. Banyak jurnalis yang berasal dari kalangan laki-laki, dan tentu ini sangat berpengaruh terhadap tulisan-tulisan yang dimuat dalam berita. Dan yang saya lihat dari berita-berita yang saya analisis, kebanyakan berita-berita ini ditulis oleh laki-laki, dan sudut pandang dijelaskan dan ditulis berdasarkan sudut pandang laki-laki. Dan ini juga tidak bisa lepas dari lingkungan kita yang menganut budaya patriarki, di mana menganggap perempuan ini kaum nomor 2 dan subordinatnya laki-laki. Seperti itu, Ibu.
Okay, Shafira, I think your topic is important, but actually if we try to read articles from international, as well as when we observe the social media, not only men who have this misogynic or who really have biases, women as well, I think. Maybe nanti Syafira bisa lihat lebih lanjut ya. Ini topiknya menarik sekali, Fira. Tapi I think not only men, women as well, they have the biases maybe. So saya senang kalau bisa diskusi lebih lanjut nanti dengan Syafira, because I also into this issue. Okay, thank you so much, Ibu Bapak sekalian. Okay, Fanny, please make it short, very short.
Yes, of course. I just wonder about your opinion related to the concept of victimized victim. So I truly agree with what Prof said, that sometimes, that often, that how people victimize victim is not just belong or come from the male perspective, but also female. And maybe you already like read about the male gaze, male gaze concept.
Yeah. I mean, sorry, maybe we cannot really discuss in this session, but actually, I just would like to maybe share with you all patriarchy. Patriarchy is also shared with women, right? I mean, of course, we uphold men, but actually, women also have biases toward other women. So I just would like to, for example, when talking about how women dress, other women also commented to how women dress, not only men, right? So I think if we would like to what is that? To benar-benar bisa mengatasi persoalan kekerasan, we also have to be aware of our own biases as women. I mean, right? But of course, I understand about those gender construction, and I really respect what Syafira did. I think it's really a good research, and we have five presenters here who have their own research, very important. Please try to revise it and make it in a full paper, maybe, so you can send it to journal, maybe. So thank you so much, Ibu Bapak sekalian, because the topics are different, so it's difficult for me to conclude, but we are happy here that all of us have our topics, which is gender related as well. And we are sensitive about that. Thank you so much for your participation and for your presentation. Please don't forget to complete the link for your participation. Jangan pergi dulu, soalnya sertifikatnya dari situ ya, teman-teman.
Betul sekali, Bu Kristi.
Ini perlu difotokah oleh panitia? Silahkan.
Oh,
saya
sudah, boleh. Kalau misalnya dari tadi sih udah difoto, ibu-ibu. Tapi kalau mau sekarang sambil pose, boleh banget. Kalau tadi kan masih candid ya. Boleh, Ibu, sambil menunggu moderator sisi berikutnya.
Yeah, and then you can maybe open your video, please.
Bentukannya nggak bagus.
Okay.
Yeah.
Your start from 1, 2, 3.
Okay.
Again. 1, 2, 3.
Okay, Mas Fadil, udah selesai.
Yes,
Thank you so much, Ibu-ibu, Bapak. I need to leave because I have to go to other room. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ibu Kristi.
Ya, bye-bye.
Prof Kristi, terima kasih.
Bye. Prof Min, bye-bye.
Prof Kristi baru lihat, kembali ucap selamat ya.
Terima kasih
Selamat
banyak
ya.
Ibu.
Sudah
Makasih
profesor hebat, luar biasa. Ya.
Please forgive me to leave the meeting.
Ya.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. We will now go to the second session, but we are still waiting for our moderator since our moderator is a part of the presenter from the first session. So I have contacted her and she will be joining us very soon. Please, if you need to take a break for a while, if you need to go to do something, you can do that. And then we will start once our moderator is here with us. Thank you.
Excuse me, Mbak Ola. Can you hear my voice?
Yes, Ibu.
I just would like to know, is the slide organizer still the same person?
Yes, still the same person.
Thank you, Mas Fadil. Semoga nanti runningnya bisa sejalan.
Putri, judulnya bagus ya. Itu penelitian.
Iya, Prof. Min, terima kasih.
Saya agak terlambat tadi, ada macam-macam. Tapi saya ikut full, hanya awal saja sebentar nggak ikut. Saya senang.
Iya, Prof. Min. Prof. Min sehat nggih?
Sehat.
Alhamdulillah.
Ya.
Kelihatannya naik berat badan.
Iya, habis makan dulu. Ntar duduk baca-baca, bosan baca ke kulkas, bosan kulkas masak.
Iya, Prof. Min.
Untung ada kegiatan gini jadi nggak ke dapur. Kalau nggak pasti udah ke dapur, apa yang bisa dibuat, apa yang bisa dimakan.
Iya, betul sekali. Saya juga naik, Prof. Min, 2 kilo. Iya.
Kalau Prof. Emi itu stabil ya orangnya, bagus badannya.
Iya.
Prof.
Iya,
Kepi.
enggak. Iya, Bu Kepi itu juga.
Kapan ya kita bisa ketemu luring? Sudah kangen. Nggak berani. Masih.
Iya, betul belum berani, Prof.
Ya,
Min.
jangan.
Khawatir kalau ada apa-apa.
Iya. Iya.
Betul sekali.
Kalau Mbak Tri kan masih lebih muda jauh dari saya sehingga masih kuat imunitasnya bagus. Kami aduh harus jaga.
Iya, tidak juga Prof. Min, harus semuanya walaupun kita yang masih muda-muda juga harus hati-hati. Berbahaya semuanya.
Iya.
Iya.
Sudah melandai ya Surabaya?
Iya, Surabaya sudah mulai bagus, mulai baik. Dan ini sudah mulai kegiatannya offline juga beberapa ada dimulai, Prof. Min.
Oh ya.
Tapi ya masih takut mau ketemuan.
Aduh, virus itu dia nggak pandang bulu. Tidak perlu lama,
betul sekali.
menit, detik saja kalau dia mau masuk ya bisa masuk.
Iya, betul. Ibu Sulfatun.
Iya, apa kabar?
Iya. Nggak bisa ketemuan kalau nggak acaranya daring ini, Ibu ya.
Padahal harusnya ada alasan untuk mengunjungi Padang ya.
Iya, betul sekali.
Saya itu ingin sekali ngeliat Padang, jujur saja.
Sama.
Oh ya.
Kalau Ibu Min di Padang posisi?
Tidak, di Kupang.
Oh di Kupang, maaf. Kirain posisi
di Timor, NTT.
Iya.
Belum pernah ke Padang ya Bu ini? Belum pernah?
Belum. Saya belum merasakan semua daratan Sumatera, baru beberapa aja. Makanya kepengen sekali ngelihat Andalas sebetulnya, tapi sayangnya masih
Semoga
panjang.
tahun depan ya Bu ya.
Mudah-mudahan.
Atau 2 tahun lagi kayaknya ICGS. ICGCS setiap 2 tahun. Baik, ibu-ibu, sepertinya ada Bapak, ibu-ibu dan Bapak Fadil. Ini Bu Rika selaku moderator kita sudah bergabung. Saya akan kembali serahkan kepada Bu Rika. Silakan Ibu.
Halo, Bapak Ibu.
Iya, Bu
Can you
Rika.
hear me? Okay.
Yes, we can
Okay,
hear
thank you,
Yes,
Bu Ola. Okay. Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, Bapak Ibu. And today there will be 7 presenters who present their papers. Before coming to the first presenter, I would like to inform you that each speaker has 10 minutes presentation and 5 minutes question and answer session. Well, I think we may start with the first presentation, and let me check with the committee has posted the presentation for the first speaker.
Yes, Bu Rika.
All right, now let me check it first. Ibu ya, Ibu Zulfatun Mahmudah. Oke, halo Ibu.
Ya, selamat sore. Assalamualaikum.
Selamat sore Ibu. Waalaikumsalam. Okay, Ibu. You have 10 minutes to present your paper. Okay, Ibu, time is yours.
Okay, thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Zulfatun Mahmudah. I am from Media and Cultural Studies Program, the Graduate School Gajah Mada University. I would like to present my article, and the title is Tante Lala's Comedy, Representation of Symbolic Annihilation on Women in Media. Next. And what is exactly Tante Lala's Comedy? It is a video that depicts a mother struggling to educate her child. Within the duration of 10.6 minutes, Tante Lala looks annoyed while teaching her son, who repeatedly mispronounced the first principle of Pancasila. The video represented the character of mother who is impatient, angry, and even failed to educate her child. The language used also look very rude to small children. The video uploaded by the owner of Facebook account named Stella Zat Macarena has been viewed 3.6 million times and shared 52,000 times. Next. And why I'm interested in this result, the background is COVID-19 pandemic changed education system from offline to online. Due to this condition, women called back to become mother figures as educators in the family. But although the women play important role in educating children, but women image in the media is not as good as the role they play. The media represents something wrong regarding the image of women. One of them is Tante Lala's video. Tante Lala's video does not represent the real condition of women. Unfortunately, media made Tante Lala's video viral as infotainment show. Next. And what is the study objective of this article? There are 3 points. The first is how symbolic annihilation on women practices and reproduces in Tante Lala's video. Second, how the media presents stereotype of women as a spectacle to the Tante Lala's video. And the third is how female viewers perceive Tante Lala's video content. Next. This article written based on some theories. According to Mulvey, the body of woman in everyday life is very different from the body circulated in image. The female image, for instance, in advertising and in movies didn't refer to actual woman in everyday life, but to an image that could be put into circulation as part of commodity culture. And according to Tuhman, the media act as socialization agent that conveys a stereotypical picture of gender role. Tuhman says that the media has carried out the symbolic annihilation of women. Meanwhile, Sturhart said, various messages communicated by the media are complex and closely related to power relations and certain ideological interests. Because of that, it is not just enough for women to just be present, because representation is not just a matter of being present or not. It is according to Wikema. Next. This study uses a critical paradigm and cultural studies approach. The method used in this research is critical discourse analysis. The data in this study are the form of text in the video, both in the form of voice, visual image, and also characters. The data is also taken from the text of infotainment broadcasts and the writings of various media. Text related to the audience opinion were obtained by in-depth interviews with white women as informant. Data reduction based on hypothesis coding that is developed from a theory and prediction about what will be found in the data before collected and analyzed. Next. And how the result of this research. The symbolic annihilation in Tante Lala's video presented in 2 forms. First is display to the language representation in video, such as text, visual image, facial expression, and also gesture backs. And the second is affirmation through infotainment show and news of various media. Next. And how the symbolic annihilation through the language representation in the video. It is found that from the beginning to the end of the lesson, Tante Lala always uses a high tone and shout in teaching her child. And Tante Lala also uses a broom to scare her son to be more serious in studying. And the climax is she hit and pinch her son, who always cannot memorize the principle of Pancasila. This finding could be analyzed that Tante Lala's video, which is produced in harsh language, depicts an emotional woman character. The video reinforces the woman stereotype as people who prioritize emotion rather than rationality. And this video annihilates the image of women who are successful in educating children. It is related with Wikema's opinion. It is not enough for women to just be present, because representation is not just a matter of being present or not. Next. And how media affirmation from Tante Lala's video. It is found that a number of TV infotainment programs blow up the presence of the video. For example, Trans TV program Nih Kita Kepo, Trans TV Brownies, Trans TV's Rumpi No Secret. Tante Lala's video is made into a comedy that entertains viewers in this infotainment program. And the mass media also popularized the video with a title that focuses on anger of women while teaching. This finding could be analyzed that the media legitimized the stereotype of woman as someone who put emotion ahead of rationality. On the other hand, in fact, the stereotype is not necessarily represent the character of woman in general. The media use the video that annihilate the image of women as commodities to gain profit. It is related to Tuhman opinion. The media act as a socialization agent that conveys a stereotypical picture of gender roles. The media has carried out the symbolic annihilation on women. Next. And how Tante Lala's video in the eyes of women viewers. Based on the in-depth interview with some informant, it is found that they said Tante Lala's video indirectly weaken and demean women. Women seem unable to educate children properly, even though many women are able to accompany their children while studying well. The participation of mass media such as television and online media in popularizing Tante Lala's video shows the weakness of media creativity. They only copy viral social media upload without looking at the quality and contribution of the media in providing public enlightenment. The difficulty of teaching children at home is problem faced by women in online learning today. Therefore, the media should focus on that side so that the problem faced by mother become a common concern. In fact, the media focus more on the depiction of woman character who are angry when teaching children. Next. I'm sorry, next. Based on this result, we can conclude that this representation confirms the notion that women are figures who emphasize emotion rather than rationality. The media do symbolic annihilation on women by using Tante Lala's video. The audience judged that the content of Tante Lala's video and media report and infotainment broadcast related to the video gave a wrong picture of women. Next. Finally, I just would like to say that this article is dedicated to women who have struggled to educate their children during the COVID-19 pandemic. Thank you very much for your kind attention, and I hope there is a discussion after that. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Bu Zulfatun. And Bapak Ibu, this is an interesting topic. This is about media, something that is close to us. Perhaps you have some questions, comments to Ibu Zulfatun regarding her presentation. There is no questions? Or maybe later, after the second presentation? Okay, I think we can go back to Ibu Zulfatun. Is it okay if we continue to the next presenter? Committee?
Yes, it doesn't matter because the time for presentation just 10 minutes.
Okay.
And I should stop in 10 minutes.
Okay, Ibu, don't worry, Ibu. I believe that maybe some participants, they have some question, but maybe later they will ask you. Okay, now let's continue to the second presenter. Let's invite Ibu Tantri Puspita Yazid. Hello, Bu Tantri. Bu Tantri? Oh, Bu Tantri is not here.
Permission, ma'am?
Yes.
I'm one of Bu Tantri's team, so I'm the one who will be presented.
Okay, Salsabila, Ibu Salsabila. Okay, good. So the title is Representation of Women in Polygamy Genre TV Drama Series. Okay, Bu Salsabila, time is yours.
Okay, thank you very much, Bu. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good day, everyone. Good afternoon. The honorable moderator and all audiences and the operator, thank you for the chance that have given to me. First of all, I would like to introduce our team, which produced this research and also present here in this virtual role. Madam Dr. Tantri Puspita Yazid, she will be joining us soon, and my friend Firliana Ratama, and myself, Salsa Bian. For Madam Tantri, I ask for the permission to present in our research. Dear audiences, we are from Communication Department of Riau University. Sorry, brother, go back, please. Okay. Our research is about woman representation in polygamy genre TV drama series. Okay, please next. For the introduction, about women are constructed by culture. This cultural construction is the base of society and affects the role of women in society. Women are constructed as subordinate or second position that a man by the culture, and then the role in society is still dominated by men. And how woman is still used as an object in media and is captured as an object and also spotlight in media legacy. Okay, please next. Right, our focus research is in this drama series titled Mega Series Suara Hati Istri Zahra, which is produced by Mega Tracy Films, and have 4 main characters. As the first is Tirta as a husband, Putri as the first wife, Ratu as the second wife, and Zahra as the third wife. This drama series were viral in early June, this June, because it tells about polygamous married life and has been criticized by the influencer Ernest Prakasa about the underage actor controversy. And the series has been cut down by KPI, but we managed to capture it. Next, please. All right. Our method in this research is using Sarah Mills' discourse and analyze in a micropoint with the analysis objective is shown in this table, which is to see how the subject object position and the director and viewers or audience positions. Okay, next please. Problem statement. Next please. Okay, thank you. And the purpose of our study is to first to knowing how the representation of women in drama series, then polygamy genre inside of Suara Hati Zahra from the critical discourse analysis of Sarah Mills, and the second is to knowing how the position of the subject objects, and the third is knowing how viewers and audience in describing woman by the polygamy drama series. Next. All right, thank you. Okay, dear audiences, here's the findings that we package. Is there are in total 10 scenes that found between episodes 1 and until episode 7 before it has been cut down, and that considered to represent an act or a practice about woman and men's role in polygamous practice, and can be content interaction between husband and wife, and also interaction between wife and a wife. And here we shown about the visual of the scenes, the dialogue of the scenes, and the symbols. Right, this next. It is just showing about our findings. Next. Until the end of findings. Yes, okay. Okay, thank you. And we jump to the result and discussion. The first is the position of subjects, perpetrator, and the object sufferer. In here, we as the researchers found that this in this drama series is obtained the structure of the discourse by the dialogue of the actors, where we found that in the main role is always being placed as the subject perpetrators, and meanwhile the wife or the woman is have been positioned by this as the subjects and the object sufferer. Is shown in this table is the character Putri has been one time to occurrence as the subjects and one time to occur as the objects in the scenes 1 and 2. And the character Ratu has no position shown in as a subject and has one which shows as the object in scene 2. And the character Tirta in total 5 the occurrence of the as the perpetrator subjects and has no position by as the sufferer object. We can find it in the scenes 2, 3, 5, 7, and 9. Meanwhile, the character Zahra have 2 times being a subject perpetrator and 4 times as the object sufferer objects in the scenes 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 10. Next, please. Next, please, operator. Thank you. And the second is how the director and audience positions. The position of the audience is shown from the point of view of the character, which the director wants to tell to the viewers. So the following dialogues that found is the first. Now there will be a third wife who is much younger than us. This is a dialogue. This is an interaction between wife and wife. The researcher interprets that the message that the director wants to convey is to show the position of a woman and a wife is threatened and by the new wife that her husband will marry. And the second dialogue is, if you are not willing to accept Zahra, I will give talak to both of you. This is interaction between the husband and the wife, Tirta and his wife. So the researcher feels that the message in the director wants to convey is to show that Tirta as a husband has a high authority over his wife. This was judged by the use of word talak by the husband to his wife to show how dominant he is than his wife. And the next dialogue is, I've been looking forward to do it with you. Are you ready? Doing your duty as my wife. I really hope this child in your womb, you are allowed to leave this house with my permission. I already bought you so you can't mess around. Those dialogues above were delivered by Tirta to Zahra in interaction as a husband and wife. The researchers interpret the message the director wants to convey in the scenes is to show how the position of man and newly married woman, which is Zahra in this series, that shown how the limited position of the woman in negotiating their opinion in husband and wife relationship. And then the last dialogue is to show how I'm not something you can buy. I'm your wife. This dialogue was said by Zahra, and the research interpret that these scenes were the director convey how women view their position. The refusal illustrated that a woman's position as a wife cannot be equated with an item or branded as an owned thing by their husband. Next, please. Thank you. And we found that woman representation in polygamy genre is first the relationship. The relationship that's shown between wife interaction were delivered how they not get along, which is shown by their mutual dislike. This is also and it also shows the attitude as a wife toward the husband who doesn't agree by their husband want to do polygamy practice because it bring it brings a loss to the woman itself and feeling hurt and betrayed that can lead to clash and even divorce of the household. And then we found that the woman have a different position from men, which is shown by the most dominating things in the scene. Well, firstly is that we found that how the husband was positioned as the dominated as the subject protector, and also how the men are shown by how he have the power and the ownership over the woman, over his wife. Next, please. Okay, audiences. Now we reach the conclusion of our research. This research on the representation of women in drama series with the polygamy genre was concluded that to see how message is being conveyed regarding the position of women in a polygamous practice. So we found that women have a different position from men in the practice of polygamy. Through discernment discourse analysis, the research interprets the discourse about the position of women in drama series, also found that the position is displayed dominantly as the object of the sufferer, while the man was shown as the subject representation position. This shows that there are the differences about in the position of women and men in the practical of polygamy. And a woman represented in drama series is considered to convey a message about the position of women in practice of polygamy in society. This is based on the formation on the drama series, which is considered to reflect the values of everyday life as well. This is sexing everyday life, and the scene shows in this drama series. Next slide, please. All right, dear audiences, that's all for our research presentation. I apologize among all of my mistakes. Any comments are most welcome, and thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Bu Salsabila. Well, Bapak Ibu, I think there is a connecting line, between Ibu Zulfatun's previous presentation and Ibu Salsabila's presentation. How a media industry plays an important role. Well, maybe I would like to ask Ibu Zulfatun, what do you think about the role of media industry? It seems that it still glorifies the patriarchy, and I think it's also applied to or related to what Ibu Salsabila and teams have conducted research on these issues. Maybe Bu Zulfatun, do you have any comments regarding this problem?
Okay, I think that the media should contribute to providing the public enlightenment. So they cannot judge the woman from the negative side. For example, there are many videos. For example, there are two women. One is presenting how difficult to educate her child, and she is angry, and another negative character. On the other hand, there is a woman who has succeeded to educate their children, but media blow up the negative side of the character. For example, Tante Lalas. So it is unfair. Media should provide public enlightenment. And I have one question to Mbak Salsabila. Is it okay, Ibu Moderator? Okay. Just now you show two comparison data. The female become object in polygamy, and the female become subject in the film. What the meaning of this comparison? it is just data, or there is hidden agenda, or there is ideology run behind this data, because media always portray the woman in a negative side. What do you mean with the data?
Okay, Bu Salsabila.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.
Madam Zulfatun. Because this data was delivered to show that it's from the dialogue by the characters, by the actors, that capture from the scenes for our findings in our research. It is seen from the language terms and how the subject is telling how the subject tells about the object sufferer. Like for the example, how there's an interaction between wife and wife in the dialogue. The dialogue between wife and wife, it says like this: now there will be a third wife who is much younger than us. It said that those dialogue were said by the one wife, and so this wife was positioned as the subject's interpretation because she told the third wife, who was seen as the object sufferer, the sufferer object. Yeah, that's how we conclude the data, and it also have the same method how we see the husband who never been portrayed as the as the object sufferer, because the husband itself with in the dialogue and the language, the dialogue term, always positioning himself as the subject interpretation.
Okay.
I think that's all I can say.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Bu Salsabila and Bu Zulfatun, for your great presentations. And now I think we have to go to presentation number 3. Yeah, the role of youth in raising gender awareness on social media. Well, this topic will be presented by Ibu Anissa Anindia. Hello, Bu Anissa.
Halo,
Okay.
Ibu Rika.
Okay, Bu Anissa, sorry if you have been waiting because we had a wonderful discussion just now. So hopefully you can present your topic well. Okay, Bu Anissa.
Okay, thank you, Ibu Rika. But first, is that okay? Is that my voice clear, Bapak Ibu semua?
Yes,
Yes.
Okay, thank
It's
you.
clear. Yeah.
Thank you. Let me introduce myself. My name is Anissa Anindia. I'm from Andalas University, Universitas Andalas. Now, I would like to present my research about the role of youth in raising gender awareness on social media. Next, please. So, okay, the background of my research is about how to raise gender awareness, as it's everybody's responsibility to do. And by raising gender awareness means we have to raise our knowledge and understanding about gender sensitivity issues. That's in order to gain gender equality. And of course, media is one of the part that will help us to accommodate how to choose the message, how to choose the information. And of course, it will help us also to change the social perspective. And that's why when I made some of like my students and some of my friends, they suggest me to talk about how youth make an impact to produce or to make various message about gender equality, especially in social media. Next, please. Okay, my objectives is about cause and motive for social media usage and presenting gender sensitivity issues. The methodology I'm using descriptive qualitative phenomenology approach, FGD and interview with the university students, males and females. And the results will talk about the factors, the values, the activities in social media. And the conclusion, moreover, I will talk about like gender sensitivity communication. Next, please. Okay, this because of the cases like we found in Komnas Perempuan 2020, 2020 states that within 12 years, the violence against women has increased by 72%. And but in order, because there's an increase in the courage of victims to report as the evidence of increase the like the evidence of various form of violence, it become revealed, especially in social media, because really easy to access. And this help us to understand that we can find many cases that probably not covered in the like in a conventional way, but in social media, we can make it viral and we can make it like become knowledgeable to everyone in every status. So that's why social media will be a platform that emerge in spreading messages of gender equality. So we have to keeping the updates about the activities. And because of the youth is the most like the user of social media, we'll talk about it. Next, please. Okay, next, please. I already explained this one. So we were talking about the result. So I divided it into 3 parts. It's the factors, the values, and the activities. So the factors will talk about the deals, how youth deals with society. So how they become understand and aware about the importance of raising gender awareness. And the second, the values. I mean, the youth believes that why they are making this action. And the third one is the activities, how they become roles, become a role model for my research, and how they act on social media to present the ideas about this gender awareness knowledge. Next, please. Okay, the factors. Mostly it's they triggered by the gender roles in social institutions, such as in a family, in a peer group, in a school, and mostly in religious community. That triggered them to make something different, something new, something enlightenment. And also they face the gender stereotypes that leads them into acting into certain traits or certain behavior that will differentiate it between the male and female. And also it will cause them to make like distortion or with gender identity, gender expression, and gender performativity. And because of that, they are fully aware that we, all of us, have to get knowledge and awareness so we can choose whatever we want to do as a freedom to speak ourselves. And especially we talk about gender. Next. Next, okay, thank you. And the values, I highlight 2 values that when I discuss with them, they're talking about how we have to understand about gender sensitivity. So we can see it from the meaning making, like symbol, the situation. We can see it like the actions, how we can see it like the advantages and disadvantages, and the understanding and how we get the information. So we have to understand and have to have a gender sensitivity in every issues, especially in social media, because it's really easy to get every aspects in social media. And because of that, we need critical thinking. Yeah, can I continue my because of the critical.
Okay. Hello.
Yeah, Bu. Sorry because there's noise. I thought that I will
Okay,
continue.
yeah.
Yeah, I will continue my presentation. So, and the second values is about how important to have critical thinking, and it's by reading and finding cases, interacting with people, and more observing and finding the solutions, thinking, and then the act. Next. Next, please. Thank you. So I find the activities that these youth does in every aspect and their social media activities. The phase one, they are doing commenting and sharing, and the second phases, they're doing like producing and reproducing. When commenting, they're just giving some social like comments in social media platforms and or in the article in the web, and sharing, usually they're reposting or sharing the information in their personal account or in the community account. Most of them are part of the community, like community in a youth community, like probably talking in gender or in the debating community or in the health community. So there's so many community that will help us to spread this message. And the phase one, they're producing, like creating ideas, giving trigger discussion on topic, making articles on web, such as in when celebrating the days or when there are current issues that's viral in social media, they are eager to participate in giving the ideas about that. And reproducing, I highlight it for their action as joining forces with other communities in getting broader audiences. Next, please. Okay, so I divided it into four categories that social media platforms that mostly they use in each activities. First, in comment, most of them are doing comments in Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and blog or web. And for sharing, they mostly use it in Twitter, Instagram, Spotify, and personal blog. It's the same with the produce. And in reproduce, mostly in a bigger community accounts and personal blog and online media. And most of them are writing and giving like designing and something else. Next, next, please. Okay, this just several examples that I found in when I'm doing the interview and GD and sharing with them, like the activities that I captured. Next, please. Okay, so the conclusion that I've got from the research is the youth acts as an agent of change in raising gender sensitivity communication on social media. They do it in freely and independently. They're aware that it's really important, and they agree that this message must be spread enough to everyone, especially to the youth, because youth is like giving like better perspective to and understanding more about gender, like when the information is really well given, they by the same peer, they believe that it will receive good enough. And thank you. That's my presentation. If you have any question or comments, please come to give it to me. Silakan Bu Rika.
Okay,
Thank
okay,
you.
Bu Anissa and India. Okay, well, Bapak Ibu, do you have any comments or questions regarding the role of youth in raising gender awareness on social media?
Can I have a question? Can I?
Sure. Yeah. I'm sorry. Who is speaking?
I'm Yayu. Lestari.
Oh, okay, Bu Yayu. Okay. Okay, Bu Yayu.
Okay, thank you. I think it's very interesting, your topic. So I'm wondering whether do you think you will emphasize about gender sensitivity to boys or girls? Because I think that's when I scroll or when I browsing in timeline, I think men should be more aware of gender sensitivities, since there's sometimes they make a joke about
they think is funny, but it's not. It's sexism sometimes. So what do you think? And then and second one, can you make a concrete example? What do you mean by gender sensitivity in social media? Maybe I have my own perception, but maybe you can share so we can have same, or maybe we can discuss later. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Okay, Bu Anissa. Yeah, you may answer Bu Yayu's question.
Okay, thank you, Bu Rika. Yeah, I found several cases that really, indeed, most of my informants is of they are females, and maybe two to third many females than males that participate in my research. And yes, that's one of the obstacles that already that they delivered to me as one of the problems, the biggest problem, that when they're delivering the message, most of the comments are came from like the males or the men that disagree with them, or just doing some not disagree, probably giving like misogynist, they are misogynist, or giving some sexist comments, or sometimes mansplaining. And yes, that's the biggest the biggest problems that I've done, but still my research is talking about how they deal with it and how they cope with it, and most of them just keep going. And maybe I can do a lot further research about how the details about how they doing it well, but for only for this research, it's just about how they giving information, not persuasive enough to do more. And thank you for the question. And the second question, yeah, actually, in my opinion, this gender sensitivity communication included how they respond. Like we have an example, like how we use phrases, we use words, how we probably like the first in the beginning of our seminar, our conference, like chairman. Oh yeah, like something like that. So probably more like phrases or phrases or words. Sorry.
Okay, thank you, Bu Anissa, and also Bu Yayu for your questions. Well, now from youth, we move to women and gossip on social media between private and public. Well, this study was conducted by Pak Diego and Ibu Yayu Lestari. Hello, Bu Yayu. Are you going to present this study? Yeah, okay. Okay, Bu Yayu. Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you, and good evening, I think. No, not good afternoon in Padang. So this is my research with team with Diego. So I'm gonna be the presenter, and Diego will try to answer the question if you have any question. And the title is Women and Gossip on Social Media, How They Divide Between Private and Public Space. So next, please. So maybe we can skip this part. So please, okay. So we will start from the introduction. You know that the internet penetration in West Sumatra are around 91.4%, while in Padang, in Kota Padang, is around 93.3. So it's very high. And not only in West Sumatra, actually, maybe in Indonesia, I don't know, Indonesia really love social media. So gossip becomes like stereotype for women and is often associated with a negative thing. Why do women like to gossip? So one of the researchers mentioned that gossip activities are women's activities in their spare time and become parts of women's oral culture. So one of the reasons why women like gossiping, because in a public space, their voice tend to not listen. I mean, the other people prefer not to listen their voices. So that's why in private space they have, they have confidence, they have, they have ability to make a conversation, in term of personal. So, however, the presence of social media give their opportunity for women to have a voice in a larger environment. So this gossip can also understand the behavior and role of someone in the neighborhood. Next, please. So the problem statement in this article is the use of social media for gossiping is an extension of gossip in real life. Gossip may be by conveying complaints, talking about other people's misfortune and affairs involving people they know. Although the impression is negative, gossiping can also help release emotion, and informal interaction helps to lighten the mood. So we see that gossiping has a negative side, but also in others' perspective, I cannot say it's positive, but others' perspective that gossiping is a way of women to release emotion in informal interaction. So they can be relaxed, they can be like relief after conveying the information. And the number of criminal cases involving social media makes women more careful in interacting. However, even though they the other perspective that said that gossiping help release emotion, it also makes other consequences, especially for the low SU. So young people tend to take advantage of features on social media to protect their privacy, image, and security. This is in regard to the prosecution for using the ITE law made women more careful in giving comments. So we see a lot of ITE so when you feel like it's not true, or you feel like they make false statement, or you feel like they accuse you, so you can report and report to the police with using ITE law. Okay, next. So the research question are how the women manage their emotion in gossiping on social media, and the second one is how the women limit themselves, especially private and public boundaries, and also safety in using the internet. Next. Next, please. Okay, I think I will be quick. So the method is mostly using qualitative interview and also observation on social media. Okay, next. So we come to the analysis and discussion. So the older the informant, the less time they will spend on social media, particularly for those over 40 years old who fall into the category of digital immigrants. On the other hand, informants under 40 years old are more familiar with the internet and are called the digital native category. So the limit number is not it's not strict, but most of our informant, like if she is she is under 40 years old, they are more familiar with the technology information. And gossip on Facebook media has an average age of 30 years and over, while Instagram is generally used for gossiping by social media users under 30 years old. Next. Next, please. So we come when we discuss about gossip as an emotional release. So unlike social media such as Instagram, Facebook, WhatsApp is more private and personal. Informants gossiping to vent their emotion either through direct messages with friends or in the WhatsApp groups. And the second one is the awareness of other people. Monitoring the activities of complaining and gossip on social media also encourage. For example, Resti Ayu, she not to overexpose her personal life. And next, please, I will skip the other part. So we come to the highlights. Gossip on social media moves the private space of gossip to the public sphere, while gossip, which was initially private matter, has become public consumption, not just friendship but involving strangers. So platform like WhatsApp, initially private, have become public consumption because they can be documented and also the content can be shared. So WhatsApp is initially becoming private. So you DM people, but now it's not private anymore because they can capture the screenshot and also share the content to other people. So it's I think it's one part is also dangerous. So apart from being gossip monitor, women also like follow the latest development from celebrities. Strangers are not welcome, but the celebrities are not categorized as foreigners, even though we never interact with them in real life. Okay, next. So I will okay. So we will talk about privacy, bullying, and ITE law surrounding online gossiping behaviors. Indonesia is a society that is more open to sharing information, whether the information is accurate or not. So we tend to like, especially for older people, you know, hoax is everywhere right now. So I asked one of our informant why they say hoax, and say, because I get from other people, so I just share to other people. So I don't know whether it's true or not. I just share it. So they tend like share the information. They will not recheck whether it's correct or not. So this open culture sharing of information is also cause of the blurring of boundaries between public and private spaces in Indonesia. Gossip on social media also transfer the private space of gossip into the public sphere. That I mentioned, for example, WhatsApp. WhatsApp is initially for private, but now it's it can also transfer to public. So gossip, which was initially private matter, has now become public consumption, not just friendship, but also involving strangers. Interaction with foreigners is expanding. So young people usually limit the association. I think young people has the ability to, because they know the technology, so they understand how to use it. For example, one of my informant who intentionally never saw her parents on his Instagram feed for reason of privacy. So young people extended knowledge of privacy and also security. And young women are more selective and have more control of their social media. They are aware of dangers and can also be better use feature of to maintain privacy and avoid bullying. Next, please. So we come to the our last part. Gossiping has become a habit that is quite common in society, regardless of status and educational background. Gossip can be opening the content and warming the atmosphere, even though it can have significant impact. Not good for the preparation, cognitive, effective, and cognitive. So, in one side, gossip can release emotion and also like to warming the atmosphere. If you encounter people at the first time, you feel more relaxed because you women usually easy to talk rather compared to men. With social media, gossip that used to be in interpersonal communication that now has been transferred into the realm of mass communication. Furthermore, gossiping itself is currently getting worse since the rise of social media with various themes presented. So I think that's all. Thank you very much. So my partner, Diego, will answer your question. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Bu Yayu. This question answer session, Bapak Ibu, do you have any questions, comments?
Okay, may I get a question?
Okay, Ibu Mulyanti, yes.
This result is very, very interesting for me, but there are some idea about the gossip in Indonesia. I want to know about what is the focus gossip in this research. I mean, it is just a relationship other the subject, or more about other problem, political maybe, because I think gossip not just a habit for the woman today. Men with the media social, they use the media social for gossip about political, about government. So I want to know about the scope of the gossip this research, because I think women and gossip on social media. Maybe I wrong about this title. The researcher has take the woman as have a not good behavior, but in Indonesia, with media social, gossip is not habit of woman, but men is have the habit gossip. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Bu Mulyanti. Bu Yayu or Pak Diego? Okay, Pak Diego,
Okay.
are you going to answer
Thank
the question?
you,
Yeah.
Ibu Rika, for the for the question for regarding answer the question. Good afternoon, Miss Mulyanti Sas. For the information, Ibu Mulyanti Sas also my lecturer. Assalamualaikum, Ibu Mulyanti. In this case, maybe we will see the gossiping as a habit in our society, but I don't see the problem is gossip is only on women. Men also do that, but I just focus this article to see and to research how women behavior become so active in social media, because in real life women cannot show the real behavior, because very so many norm and rules in our society that make a woman become so quiet gitu. So in social media, women can express their behavior, their idea, their behavior more active, and we also can catch that idea, but women in social media become so okay, so can show all the manners of gitu. I'm sorry because my English is so broken and I get coached because I did a lot of ice yesterday. So that is my answer, Miss Mulyanti Sas.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Pak Diego and Bu Yayu. Yeah. Now let's continue to the next presentation. I think it's Ibu Mulyanti's turn. Am I right?
Sorry, moderator.
Yeah.
Bu Mulyanti.
Yes.
To ask
Hello.
Hello. Is it
Yeah.
possible to present short question to Ibu Yayu?
To Ibu Yayu.
I'm sorry, to Mas Diego team. Who is the team?
Oh, okay. Okay. Short question. What is the question, Ibu?
I just would like to know the discourse of gossip here, because before we discuss about something relating to gossip, I think we should pay attention to the discourse of gossip. Just that.
Okay. 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 But well, it's not merely a gossip, but perhaps there is a kind of strategical or ideological arena for yes, for those who get involved in the social media. Pak Diego and Bu Yayu, do you want to answer or respond? Maybe Bu Yayu?
Bu Yayu, please.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Bu Zulfatun. Actually, our research is not focused on this course, but we focus on the woman itself. So how she, perceives the gossip it and how she deals. So, the discourse itself is only just, what do you just the consumption, but not what, not the, how the ideology or maybe I will also link the question from Ibu Mulyanti about but how men also gossiping. But what I found that even though men also gossiping, but the topic may be sometimes maybe different, because men usually women, they like daily life, they like to gossiping about daily life topics. So it's not, it's only maybe because of preferences, but if it's when it comes to politics, usually they tend to like avoid the topics. So yes, I think also but we're not trying to like make divided between the men and women, but we will see from others perspective that gossiping is also kind of good, how to help women release their emotion, and also gossiping is also a way of women try to talk with other people. From if a woman approach you, so usually people tend to more relaxed. But if men come to approach, for example, my experience, I will more conscious, I will more like I will take alert. But if women come to me, I will be, because they tend to make a good fiber, and also they're smooth to talk. So I think that's all. But I'm sorry if I consume the time too much.
That's okay. Well, thank you for the question, Bu Zulfatun, and also Bu Mulyanti, and thank you for the explanation. Well, now we move to the next presentation, Systematic Literature Review on Gender Issues in Public Relations in Indonesia. And this topic will be presented by Ibu Mulyanti Shas. Okay, Ibu Mulyanti.
Okay,
Please.
terima kasih. Okay. For the first time, I want to thank to the moderator for the time. I want to introduce myself. My name is Mulyanti Sas. I'm from Win Imam Bonja Padang. Sorry. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My title, this is my preliminary research. So I take the title Gender Issue in Public Relation Profession. Okay, next. Next, please. Okay, we know that gender is the difference in behavior between men and women that is socially constructed in people's life. The gender issue have also entered the realm of profession, one of which the public relation profession. We know that a number of global studies note that the issue of gender in public relation have been widely carried out by researchers in several parts of the world. And the results show sign of there are inequality in the public relation profession. Okay, next. In the early 2000s, a number of studies saw that substantially the public relation profession was perceived as predominantly female. It's good? No. We looked at in approximately 70% women and 30% men in the maybe in the industry or the public relation profession. But not only in terms of number, the difference between male and female PR is also found in terms of requirement on salary, roles, promotion, and career certification. So public relation is one of profession or field of science that is increasing in demand today, especially in Asia. Female domination in PR profession is long the situation in the sector, and this leads to perception that public relation is woman's job. Okay, next. Some literature show that there are few studies conducted in Indonesia regarding this situation. The importance of women in the field of public relation is not emphasized enough. So I want to know how this study intend to make a current evolution on the role and the position of Indonesian women in the field of public relation. So I want to propose or to discover the question, is the field of public relation in particular of equal interest to men and women today, especially in Indonesia? And what are the gender issues that are developing in the field of public relation today, especially in Indonesia? So next, I use the theory and concept feminist theory of public relation. We know public relation is an industry founded of feminist values such as honesty, justice, and sensitivity, which will enhance the symmetrical communication pattern of public relation. And the feminist theory focus on how women and feminist value can benefit in the industry, positioning then that feminist values are intrinsic to the public relation profession. Okay, next. For the methodology, I use the database relevant to the research objective to ensure that all literature on the gender and the public relation profession focuses on the literature most relevant to the research question. By literature review, this research has gathered, reviewed, summarized, and analyzed two studies on gender in public relation profession from various scholars' perspectives. The search was conducted on the Google Scholar, and ResearchGate database using keyword gender and public relation in Indonesia and gender and public relation profession. There are 54 articles related to the both article search keyword. After deepening and focus of the theme and content, 20 articles in period 2009 and until 2020 related to the gender in the public relation profession in Indonesia were produced by the researcher in Indonesia. From the article from a journal, I have some data finding, and I want to discussion from this data in the 20 article that I researched. There are many issues that women face in the world of work, like the right to get equal opportunity in getting a job, sexual harassment in the workplace, as well as challenges to develop a career and occupy important position or reach the highest level in the corporate ladder. Okay, next. And despite the woman domination in this field, it's possible to say that women face many problems. Two of the biggest problems women encounter in the field of public relations are the issues of salary and status inequality. And then from the many articles, research on organizational roles which show that there are more men than women in management position, and women work mostly as technicians. So they are okay. There are notable difference between men's and women's salary. And many other studies stem gender, role, and salary in public relations have been conducted. Gender discrepancy in hiring, salary, promotion have been found in quantity and qualitative research in public relations. And this research indicates that although the public relation profession is almost 70% women today, and men are often favored for hiring, higher salary, and promotion to management position. Okay. So women face several kinds of challenges in their work, such as cultural challenges, corporate environment, relationship with their colleagues, personal life, and social domination. Women practitioners are either hesitant or unable to take the leadership role due to the existing societal and professional gender stereotypes, male dominates organizational culture, and lack of support from professional association. Okay. So feminist public relations scholars have suggested that the organizational context may be to blame for the powerlessness of some female public relations practitioners. It's known that women have less formal structural power than men, but there are no gender difference, relationship, strength, or influence. So from this data, from the 20 article, I want to make the conclusion and recommendation. My conclusion is the field of public relations, in particular of equal interest to the men and women, but there are still problems in the gender issue. The problem is there are harassment of the PR profession, which is dominated by women. What is image public relation that is synonymous with glamour, spotlight, exclusive event, and has a mass media coverage. So these studies draw attention to the domination of women, and they also focus on the problem of women. Encounter hints its war attention that women men encounter problem even an area where they are the majority. So it's necessary, my recommendation is so necessary to direct more in-depth research on the root of this problem. So from the 20 article, the theme of gender and public relation, it's necessary to direct more in-depth research on the root. What's the root, the problem? And the Indonesian Public Relations Association, Perhumas Indonesia, as the oldest PR association in Indonesia, maybe will carry out the Perhumas accreditation program to set international benchmark standard for public relation profession, for public relation practices. So from the standard, we can there is no difference about men and women in the profession public relation. I think it's my preliminary research about the gender and the relationship with public relation profession. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Bu Mulyanti. Well, this is a question, Bu, in the chat box. Dear Ibu Mulyanti, this is from Ibu Zulfatun. Excuse me. Okay, I have been 20 years working for international mining company, SPR staff. I feel there is difference in salary. If your research finds some cases, what is the background of this problem? And what should women do to solve this problem? I'm sorry, I think there is no different salary. Okay, Bu Mulyanti, yes.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Zulfatun Mahmuda. Salam kenal. My research is from the review many researchers from 2009 until 2020. The data from this article like this, bahwa there are the difference about salary, about position between men and women. So this is a preliminary research. From this review, I want to know about what is the root of the problem, because this article just 10 or 11 years is not too a long time ago. So I want to know a deep research maybe from this data, because not just in Indonesia, many articles from in the world maybe the data saw this problem about the public relation between men and women. I'm so sorry about the data quantitative. I don't have about this, but I want to explore the data qualitative from this article that I have found. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Bu Mulyanti. Thank you, Bu Zulfatun. Well, okay, 1 minute left. Well, Bapak Ibu, now I think we continue to the next presenter, Ibu Witriani. Hello, Ibu Witriani. Yes. Hello, we meet again.
See you again.
Well, the title of your paper is Literature and Portraits of Violence Against Women in Popular Culture. Okay, you are going to talk about popular culture. Okay, Ibu Witriani, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah,
Time
actually,
is yours. Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully this is okay. Thank you, Ibu Rizka. See you again. Okay. Actually, I have not finished yet with my research, but I'm trying to finish it, but not. But it's because it's kind of a huge data that I need to grab more. That's why I think this is kind of that's why it is presenters only. I try to talk a little bit more about how women represented in media, especially studied from literatures until the new media today. From time to time, from the if we know that if we okay, we can go back how women and men constructed in the public space. This in the media, it is started from how they are constructed in the society. That's why if we say that like literature as part of the kind of society's imitation of representation of the society, and then what we find in the literatures from the very beginning until today it's almost quite the same. Please, you hopefully that next, please. Okay. Hello, next. Can I share? Is that possible? Okay. Can I share the? I don't know. Is that possible? I share this with my own.
Okay. Pak Fadil. Oh, what's wrong,
Because
Ibu? Why?
Is that okay?
It's okay.
Okay,
Okay,
because I
yeah.
need there is some things that I need to skip for it, so it's
Okay.
easy for me to handle. Okay, this one. Okay, this one. Okay, how we got it constructed in society, right? How studied not only social construction studied from derived from biological construction until religion, religious, for instance, dogma, and then how and it's really construct how different role and responsibilities between men and women in our social background. And why literatures, I think that I have already talked before, because how it is represented, how we got, what happened, the society actually represented in literatures, and why, for instance, how women, let's say, for instance, in the very early, the beginning, I know that we got to know that how women as villain or antagonists have been going on for centuries in video show. We know that people have been familiar with the god started with the Greek mythology, for instance, how the narration between about Hera, the goddess of Hera, until Medusa, for instance, until the Granny Witch, Nenek Sihir, in the Middle Age, in the Middle Age literatures, until and it almost the same until the evil queens figures in children's stories and fairy tales. We know that there is always terms with the Granny Witch and like Nenek Lampir or Nenek Sihir in our terms, but not in for the male terms. And then women have been constructed in various styles in many cultures, both in West and East, and it's ranging from old literatures to modern one, from Greek mythology until children's literatures. And here, for instance, this is the mother of what is that? The mother of Beowulf. Okay, how she becomes a monster who portray his son, and then with his power, her power, he could defeat his enemy. And this is kind of the what is that? The construction of the yeah, let's say like the Granny Witch in the Middle Age. And this is almost the same, okay, like it is represented in the old, in ancient old literatures like this, how, for example, in Macbeth, in Shakespeare, it is represented how woman is look like the innocent flower, but the sharpened underneath. Let's say, for instance, it is he's the Lady Macbeth. And then the next here, for instance, in children literatures, for instance, how we see that the evil queen here, like the vis-a-vis with the Snow White and Cinderella with her mom's her stepmom, and then also the like say Maleficent and any kind of stories, children's stories in which which is very familiar with us, and also the story with the of like, let's say like in our literature, children literatures, like the story of Mak Lampir, Nenek Sihir, and everything is almost constructed in the similar way. And then I took representation of one image reflect men's attitude, for example, the concept of beauty, real woman, cosmetic, and etc. And then woman representation of men have been constructed by means of thesis that politics played a central role in the presentation project. That's why it is much more easy or much more acceptable to represent a woman in such a way because it less kind of risky, especially in the media representation. And media image of women also reflect cultural stereotype that depart mostly from reality. This is, of course, the point why I really interested in this idea. For instance, in movie representation, we know that there is a range of kind of representation started from the heroine here, like this, but with the of course, like all these kind of how women represented not only based on her pornography, but also as a terrorist here, or as a ghost here. Like we have also the tradition in the West and East, for instance, media have created two images here, good woman and bad ones. These polar opposites often juxtapose against each other to dramatize differences. So usually if the good woman is usually the protagonist, the bad one will be the antagonist. Now, in its consequences that before good and bad woman, good women are pretty differential, focus on home, family, caring for the others, and then subordinate to men. They are usually cast as victims, angels, martyrs, and loyal wife and helpmates, for instance. And representation is closely related to the contestation arena in which power is dominant, both in the in constructing identity and stereotypes. And a construction of female villain, for instance, like this is what we see also the representation of this binary position, black and white war, in which in children literatures or fairy tale, we know that the legend of the fairy tale of Snow White, Sleeping Beauty, Cinderella, Bawang Putih, Bawang Merah, also in Indonesia, the reader get used to facing witches or evil stepmothers who deal with beautiful and passive women who are victims, but then get their victories. And then this representation is socially constructed and passed through generation in many cultures and civilization. And then, for instance, here there is also almost this is Sodoku from the Japanese, what is that? Anime, the Japanese what is that culture, in which almost the same here. We have also like what is that? The North, yeah, the noon, and also the what is that? Suster Ngesot, almost the same. How the evil woman here, if they got the power, she even much more what is that evil than man usually. And then yeah, we got to know that horror movie, for instance, like Susanna with what is that what more than 20 years of her, which talk about his evil. And also here I got the what is that the theory from Barbara Kritz. It's talk about a monstrous feminine in literatures. For instance, the evil woman. Okay, usually few women as potential evil, and then there is also the immoral premarital mother, vampire, for example, the witch, and then woman as monstrous wombs and women as bleeding wounds, and then woman as thing mother, for example, woman as beautiful but deadly killer, as a psychopath, and then or woman as a non-human animal, and woman life in death. I think I don't have a time to explain it more, but I get one of the point here, how the phrase woman's feminine emphasize the importance of gender in construction of her monstrosity, and all human society have the conception of the monstrous feminines, of what is about woman that is shocking, terrifying, horrific, and abject. And the myth is women are terrifying because they have the teeth in their vagina, and then the woman must be tamed with her teeth somehow. This is what Barbara mentioned about the monstrous feminine. And then, for instance, like we see, this is the Medusa. The Greek mythology in the horror film, for instance, and the Asian connection drawn between woman, warm, and the monstrous is frequently invoked. For example, the Medusa and her two sisters also presented in terrifying sight. They had a huge head, and their hairs consisted of what is that, serpent, and their teeth were as long as what is that, boar tusks, and they flew through the air. The unfortunate men who looked upon the Medusa with her evil eyes were immediately turned to stone. This is, and we have also here like the myth of like the witches, and then there is also how the constructed of the witch actually as the which is usually as woman. Okay, it is actually studied from healer. Okay, how the close of woman to the nature, and at the first time they in the ancient society all magical flower. Okay, in many culture witches has had metaphoric names like such as herbaria. Usually they are the doctor who what is that? Not a formal doctor, but usually their position which is close to nature make woman can cure, can heal the sickness. But finally this is constructed into some of them become the witches.
Okay, Bu Fitriani, sorry.
Okay.
Can you make it faster?
Okay, I think this is I don't want to, this one from irrationality to evil, like we have also in many representation. Okay, and then actually my focus is actually in perempuan jahanam. Okay, in our what is that in the 20 and 16, which is become the empty god here, which is or become one of the famous horror movie in the few years, and becomes the family consume, which is actually inspired with the same construction. And then so sorry because we don't have a time, and then I think this is why I still conducted this until. That's why it is not finished yet. But I guess I hope that I can finish soon. Thank you so much. And then and this is almost the same. Maybe that some of you has already seen this movie. It's how woman constructed in the similar way with Hera or.
Interesting. Interesting, Bu Fitriani. Thank you very much. I think we have to continue to Ibu Devi's presentation, and we'll see whether we still have time, and we go back to your topic, Bu Fitriani. That's very interesting. And now the last one, provision of gender inside education for entrepreneurial pioneer students toward community economic empowerment. Well, this is about gender and entrepreneurship. Well, this topic will be presented by Ibu Devi, Hello, Bu Devi. Okay, Ibu Devi, are you ready?
Yeah,
yes.
Thank
Okay,
you.
Ibu. Yeah.
Can you hear my voice here clearly?
Clearly.
Okay.
Clearly. Okay.
Okay. The slide, please. Yes.
Okay.
I don't see
Pak
my
Fadil?
slide. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Here it is.
So, good evening, everyone. I think it's evening in Banjarmasin. It's a great honor to meet you here in these presentations. And then let me introduce myself. My name is Devi Ruspitawati from Sekolah Tinggi Ilmu Manajemen Indonesia or STIMI Banjarmasin. And I am responsible for delivering this presentation for you. As you can see, actually on the screen, this presentation under the theme of gender and entrepreneurship, and this is the only one in this room, I guess, the theme like this. And then the title is Proficiency of Gender Insight Education for Entrepreneurial Pioneer Students Towards Community Economic Empowerment. And then I did it with Ibu Nur Hikmah from STIMI Banjarmasin also. Okay, next. Yeah, please, yeah. So yes, here I've divided my presentations into 6 parts. The first, I'll start off by explaining the background of this article, and then I'll go on to the objectives, impacts, methods, and then the participatory rural appraisal or PRA stages, and then the last, of course, conclusions. And after that, maybe I'll try to answer all of your questions after these presentations. And I think my presentation will last maybe only 5 or 10 minutes, maybe less than 10 minutes, 10 minutes. Okay, so next. Well, this article actually started with community service activities, collaborations between the Research and Community Service Unit of STIMI Banjarmasin through the Gender Study Center, and the Office of Women Empowerment and Child Protections or Dinas Pemberdayaan Perempuan dan Perlindungan Anak South Kalimantan. And the grand idea, or maybe the objective actually, we'd like to increase the role of the university in facilitating technical guidance using the gender mainstreaming strategy. And then in addition, to provide debriefing, training, and also mentoring for entrepreneurial pioneer students who act as agents of information, education, and communication through the gender mainstreaming strategy in national development, especially community economic empowerment. Next, please. Yes, as you can see here, the background, while the gender gap still exists in the economic field, and then the current gender understanding is heavily influenced by local culture and built from inappropriate thinking, resulting in discriminatory practices and violence. Therefore, there must be a right and proper understanding of gender equality and justice. And the understanding can continue to be institutionalized in society through all levels, including universities' role in implementing the Tridharma. Okay, next. Yes, it's the same like the grand idea before, that the objectives is this too. So just skip it. Next. Thank you. The impact, we hope that this activity that we've done expected to have the following impacts or benefits. First, for the activity participants itself, we hope to develop the sub-potential that students already have and encourage students active participations in informations, educations, and communications activities to the community in the surrounding environment, as well as establishing partnership with relevant stakeholders. And then also raise student awareness about gender understanding, community economic empowerment, and gender mainstreaming strategies in development to achieve gender equality and also justice. And for the local government, especially in Banjarmasin here, so we would like to contribute to community or campus empowerment, also contribute to the human resources development, especially students, as the next generations who can act as an agent of change in their respective areas, and also be inputs to local government about the potential of the university community, which its potential can still be empowered, driven, or excavated. And for science,
would like to develop knowledge mainly related to human resource development, and also develop the applications of the community economic empowerment model. Okay, next. For the method itself, this study actually use qualitative research with a participatory rural appraisal, because PRA itself is a set approaches and methods that allow participants to share, increase knowledge, and explore their potential to make concrete plans and actions to improve human resources, especially the university community or students itself who are entrepreneurial pioneers. It's based on Canvas. And then the data collections technique that we use while doing this activity was through tests. There was a pre-test and also post-test questions that we gave to the students when we did this activity. So giving pre-test and also post-test here, we aim to compare the level of understanding before and after the PRA or participatory rural appraisal itself was given to the students. And then the data analysis technique used here is descriptive qualitative analysis. Okay, next. Next, please. Yeah, so our focus here is for this study. Actually, there are 25 students from university, public and also private university only in Banjarmasin, but we've got the following categories that the students have here. Number one is they have an interest in starting a business or already have manage a family business, or are students who are participating in the Indonesian Students Entrepreneur Activity Program, or in Indonesia we call it Kompetisi Bisnis Mahasiswa Indonesia, or maybe a recipient of the Indonesian Student Entrepreneurial Activity Program grant, or maybe the one who got the KBMI itself. And then the second category is they are student of the public and also private university in Banjarmasin, who got the kartu Indonesia Pintar, Indonesian students card. Okay, and then next. Yeah, so here in this activity, we've done several stages. The first is we have the preparations of training materials and involvement of the Office of Women's Empowerment and Child Protection of the South Kalimantan Provincial Government as companion speaker. So here the formulations of our material and also the mentoring plan was drawn up in a coordinations with Dinas Pemberdayaan Perempuan. And as they are as the speaker and also the partner of us here in Simi Banjarmasin as the team facilitator to give the mentoring. And then the second is introductions of the PRA method, or participatory rural appraisal. So we introduce how we do that, the PRA method for the gender-oriented educational activities for the entrepreneurial pioneer students. And then the third is we map the problems and issues and needs for the preparations of gender-oriented entrepreneurial plans program. Here while we are doing the PRA discussions forum, we map out the internal and also external problems of each participating university. So the participants there divided into several groups based on their university, and then they were asked to develop a gender-oriented entrepreneurship plan or program. And then the group discussions with the facilitators' assistance was conducted to explore problems and issues, find the solutions, and then develop entrepreneurship activities by inserting gender mainstreaming strategy in achieving gender equality and justice. And after that, we to the PRA implementations. Sorry. Before go back to the previous slide. Yes. The fifth stages. Involvement of students in the process of monitoring and evaluating gender-oriented entrepreneurship plans and program at participating universities. We like what do we call while they're doing the PRA, so like what is it? In the discussions of the PRA, all plans and programs are noted. After that, they describe the program itself describe the whole student entrepreneurship activities. So, for example, when making plans for culinary entrepreneurship, students proactively and anticipately explore local resources that differentiate them from similar culinary product. Then make gender responsive plans. It means that the planning needs to consider aspirations, needs, and students' problem both in activities drafting process and in its implementations. Thus, in this planning will be related to policy planning and program planning to its operations in the field. And the last of these stages is the facilitator teams here in Simi Banjarmasin and also Dinas Pemberdayaan Perempuan dan Anak. We make up like a participation plan for the implementations of student entrepreneurship plans or programs at the participating universities. It means like we believe that after formulating the gender responsive student entrepreneurship activities and action plans will actually organize and socialize the gender responsive student entrepreneurship activities program for the students. Not guarantee the program could be implemented well on each campus. So we still need hard work and also high commitment to assist and promote the gender responsive entrepreneurship activities at universities, especially in Banjarmasin. So in order to participate in implementing gender responsive student entrepreneurship activities, the facilitator here plans for mentoring and or giving advocacy based on participatory volunteerism for the entrepreneurial pioneering students at universities and Banjarmasin. And the conclusion is that at what to draw here is one, that the involvement of academics community campus in implementing the gender mainstreaming strategy to achieve gender equality and justice is the right choice, because university itself is a place for the transformations of norms and science value. And also the students are essential element in academic community, so who can become agents of the informations, educations, and communications. So in applying PRA through gender mainstreaming strategies in national development, especially community economic empowerment. And the third is the role academics itself is relevant in facilitating students to recognize and apply for entrepreneurial programs through gender responsive student entrepreneurships activities. And the last is the PRA implementations and the preparations of gender responsive student entrepreneurship program by university students in Banjarmasin have succeeded actually in raising solid awareness in students itself that the PRA or participatory rural appraisal itself is a tool for them to realize that economic empowerment. So using PRA here, students can be more competent in mapping the potential of the entrepreneurial startup with maybe good prospects for development. And in addition, with PRA, students can make aspirational programs and mobilize high community participations. And also with PRA, students realize that many community economic empowerment programs are not yet participatory and gender responsive, and they do not have a model compiled from sufficient experience here. And then gender oriented educations for the entrepreneurial students, pioneering students produced through the PRA here has increased the students motivations to realize that community economic empowerment based on regional resource potential. So I think that's all about my presentation Maybe you've
Okay.
got questions.
Okay, thank you, Bu Devi. This is
Yes.
your research ya with Ibu Nur Hikmah ya.
Yeah.
Well, Bapak Ibu, do you have any question or comments? Well, actually, it's very important when we include the students to identify income generating activities
Yes.
based on gender awareness. So I believe that this is still a homework for us to to promote the gender awareness. And thank you for the research, Ibu Devi and Ibu Nur Hikmah. And I think I will share this to my colleague who would teach entrepreneurship as well, because entrepreneurship is a compulsory lesson, a compulsory subject in our university. Okay, thank you very much.
Yes.
Well, Bapak Ibu, don't forget to to complete the attendance list for this session. Yeah. Okay, you may check the link. And thank you also to Ibu Witriani. Yes, woman is associated with a monster. Yeah. Maybe this is because of the insecurity, I guess, but I believe that Ibu Witriani can continue her research. Okay, and I think that's all for today, Bapak Ibu. I really enjoy today's session, and hopefully you also enjoy our session today. And thank you very much. Thank you to Bapak Fadil as the operator and Ibu Ola as the committee. And I apologize for the inconvenience, and hopefully you can still join tomorrow's session. And Alhamdulillah, I think I have to close. Okay, I think Bu Anissa, do you have? Oh no, okay. Thank you very much. I thought you want to ask a question. Well, Alhamdulillah, Ibu Ola, what about the communication?
Yes, Ibu.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Ibu
Thank you very much. Great committees, Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ibu.
Yes, I think that's all for today, Bapak Ibu. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Ibu Bapak, izin mengingatkan besok kita akan opening ceremony jam 8.50 untuk hari kedua, dan ada plenary session, dan kemudian kita langsung masuk ke parallel session jam 10.45. Silakan istirahat Ibu dan Bapak, sampai bersua lagi besok. Terima kasih banyak. Saya izin untuk mengakhiri sesi ini. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Okay, thank you Bapak Ibu. Yeah.
Bapak Ibu.